What's up, everybody? It's That Anime Show. I'm Terri Doty Wheels. You.
With me. I laugh. I wish you guys could see how professional she goes.
I am.
She gets to be, she's like, okay, everyone. Good everyone, That's Anime Show. I'm here with J. Michael Tatum. Hi, everyone. It's good to be back. Love you.
And our guest today,
which I'm very excited about. Jerry Jewell.
Hi, Jerry. How's it going?
It's going well.
And we actually have in the studio, she's not mic'd, at the studio, the room that is empty in my home. Jana, say hi.
Hi.
Woo!
Woo! She's back there making us all drinks.
If only we had like a Foley table for her.
We should totally,
What's she doing?
Oh my God, we should totally do that. Oh my God.
She's whittling something.
Give me like some like coconut halves and like some glasses and some bells and
she's making drinks with a little muzzle.
Oh my God.
Well,
How long has it been since we've done that show last time? How many weeks has it been?
we did. Well, I don't know. See, fuck you.
Poor Steven. We should mention that poor Steven is sick today, but he's still.
No, now he's gonna go like, I'm sorry, you're sick.
I know. Everyone,
He's a trooper.
He's a trooper.
Hang in there, tiger.
So if you hear someone coughing and dying in the background,
that's how like really
Steven.
like caring people would put it. But he's like, I think I'm getting sick. I'm like, stay the fuck away from me.
Have some soup and get over yourself.
Have some
you
soup
you
in
just
the
being
other
a
goddamn
baby.
room.
Walk it off. Walk it off.
He's back there.
I think my arm's broken. That's how you sound. Suck it up. Suck it up.
You have such a great bedside manner. You really missed your calling as like a cancer ward doctor or something. Mm-hmm. That would have been great.
Yeah. It's like, how do I tell this kid that's 5 that he has cancer? I'll do it.
I'll do it. Hey.
Tough breaks, kid. Here's peppermint.
Brush your teeth, asswards.
Brush your teeth. Have you been flossing? Then you have no one but yourself to... That's horrible.
Oh my God.
That's probably why God's killing you.
Oh God.
And it begins. I love it. Oh.
Yeah, it has been a while. Like we had dinner with Haunted Flower and then we did Caitlin's show, and I think that's the last time I saw you.
Yeah, because I've been crazy busy and just crazy also. Well, I'm reclusive anyway. Crazy, comma, busy.
And you went to OhioCon.
I went to OhioCon. Got burned last weekend. It was really a lot of fun. I didn't get to go last year, but it's always been one of my favorite cons, so it was nice to be back. It was really fun. Todd Habercorn serenaded me. He did a really cool acoustic music performance, and I showed up to see it, and he sang a Lady Gaga song just for me. It was really awesome. It was sexual.
Clearly.
Well, I mean, I thought that's how I chose
I really think Jerry and I can do the rest of the show ourselves. Actually, Jen, I can sit in right there.
That's okay. I'll go and be sick with Steven.
He'll make you sick. He'll lick your face.
God damn it. Do you ever do that? Do you ever like decide to weaponize your illness when you're just feeling sick and bored? You're like, I'm going to go and make some people sick. I'm going to go hang out with someone I don't like. You never do that?
Because that's what terrible people do.
You're shopping or something and you sneeze and you just wipe it over shirts or something. Like,
I would
that
deliberately.
Is germ warfare.
It is okay, and I wouldn't do it like to people I didn't know. Or like I would like if I feel myself coming down with something and like let's say I get a call from someone I don't like very much asking me to hang out, I will totally hang out with them in the hopes that I get them sick.
Well, see, but now that you mentioned it, I was about to say now that you mentioned it, I'd be like, well, I'm feeling a little sick, but yeah, I could go for some Jason's Deli.
Sure, let's do this. Yeah, because I guess I'm a terrible person that way.
That's a biological attack.
No.
Well, it's not like I'm, spewing mustard gas out of my pores or something like that. I'm just
ask the Native Americans how they feel about smallpox.
Yeah, I show up with blankets. Here. Jerry's like,
holy shit, no.
Just saying,
I think my give a shit
people.
Like filter is completely gone when I'm sick, or it's just like, Terry, you shouldn't say that. I'm sick. Fuck you. I don't care.
Sick.
I'm sick.
Now, are you the type of people that when you're sick, Do you like being taken care of, or do you fucking hate it?
I hate it.
Hate it.
Okay.
Do you love it?
No, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it too. I hate being waited on.
Steven's the same way. Like, I'll get you some soup. No!
I can get my own soup.
I can get it myself. Or like, but like the opposite's like Sheldon Cooper. It's just like, I want a grilled cheese sandwich. Make me grilled cheese. Like, you know, loving it.
So in other words,
Sing song.
So in other words, we're all going to be really terrible old people. Like insisting, I can totally drive.
Have you taken your pills today?
And
I can make it to the bathroom on my own.
Yeah, I don't need your pity.
Well, see, like you do that, and all of old lady, it's just shrieking. No, I don't need you. I think that nurse is racist. Like, what? I don't want her touching my meds. She's racist.
Well, I'll be in the nursing home.
She's stealing my slippers.
No one's stealing your slippers, Mom. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Those squirrels that come out of the ceiling are stealing my slippers.
They're putting gas through the vents. I know that orderly's coming to work when he's sick just because he hates me and wants to get me sick. I know it.
No wonder their
maybe they're doing
grandkids never come to visit.
Wait, where's my goddamn candy? They keep stealing my goddamn candy. It's a great way to get candy from the staff. Just to show you don't have any candy, but they'll bring you like Toblerone, all kinds of great shit, just because you're sick. Well, they'll bring you shit that's hard for old people to
finest. In the golden years. In the golden years of your life.
Why did you go to duty free? They sell it just anywhere. I don't. Okay.
But it's duty free. That's why. Hey, when you're old, anything duty free.
Oh my god.
Let me empty my bag.
Trick or treat.
Hey kid, smell this.
Hey kid, pull my finger.
Again, I don't think like old men are like old ladies. It's again shouting, and just being an awful person.
Old people. I think I'm gonna.
Those are the old people in my family. Like Steven's old people, they're very super sweet. But
Steven's old people.
Steven's old people.
He's got a farm.
My old people
outside of Nebraska.
Do you like them?
They're only milk fed. Buttermilk. Buttermilk fed old people farm. That's what Steven does.
I just got this in right now. They're from Portland. Amazing.
Well, they love it. There's a lot of rooms they can run and play.
Oh, not run.
Well,
they can hobble and limp and
reruns of Matlock and Cagney and Lacey as far as the eye can see.
Get on there, hover around, and go exploring.
Cagney and Lacey wasn't even relevant when they were young. It's weird.
Was it ever relevant?
No.
Anyway.
Old people like crime fighting shows from the 80s. Mm-hmm. They do.
Oh no, even my grandmother. My grandmother who never never watched anything other than Spanish television, but she loved like In the Heat of the Night.
Magnum PI.
In the Heat of the Night, Magnum PI.
In the
Simon
Heat
and
of the Night.
There was
T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker.
Columbo.
I
love Columbo.
I love Columbo too, but
Perry Mason.
Perry Mason's a big one. Tons of
I got into Perry Mason because my grandma made me watch it all the time. I hated it. That and Gomer Pyle.
Murder, She Wrote.
She did. Oh, random.
Oh.
So what have you been up to?
How have you been, Jim?
I'm fine.
That was weird. Tatum and I were like,
I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm. Are you? Mm-hmm. We do care. We genuinely worry about your well-being. Not worry, because we realize you can take care of yourself.
That's why it took 10 minutes for you to ask, is because you were clearly putting me first.
Well, we saved the best for last. Hello.
Yeah.
We didn't want to.
That's what.
We didn't want to.
Yeah, the small talk is like the veggies. Now we're getting into desserts.
Yeah. That was just
the meat.
That was
ladies.
This is the entree, ladies. This is the entree.
Yes.
Oh my god. We're just gonna stand here and look at you. Jerry's very pretty.
He's very pretty.
And now he's red.
He's pretty red.
He's pretty red.
Well, Jerry was kind of, they made him, Bevins was just like, oh, you have Jerry fucking Jewell in today. I'm like, is that man's middle name? Because,
Might as well be.
Jerry fucking Jewell.
Jerry fucking
And when
Jewell.
I met him, I'm like, Mr. fucking Jewell.
Mr. He's like, please, call me fuck.
Mr. fucking Jewell is my father.
No, that's Dr. fucking Jewell.
There's a branch of the family called the motherfuckers, but things
All
really
fathers
awkward.
are motherfuckers. They are.
This is true. Well, they have to be, right?
By definition.
Sure, it's a Red Bull.
By definition.
By definition.
You mean what I know.
That's the kind of joke my mother would never get.
Yeah.
Which is funny because she's married to a motherfucker, obviously. But she'd be like, "Why are you calling your father a motherfucker? I don't know. That's not nice." Well, Mom, no.
You motherfucker. I'm not lying.
I have proof. I am proof.
I am living proof that father is a motherfucker. If you're my mother,
I don't like this.
something I don't know.
like.
You don't like where this is going?
No,
I'm
I don't
sorry.
like it. I don't
we
like
go
it.
from old people to motherfucking. It's kind of
I don't know. See, we
kind
were
of a
on
buffet of
we were on the
wrongness.
right track talking about cancer, things like that, but
Well, yeah.
and getting old.
We go from cancer to old people, and because those two things almost never go together.
Sorry. Getting a message from Leah. She likes to text me when
Turn
she
your
knows I'm
phone off. I
recording.
gotta turn mine off. Why can't you?
I didn't tell you to turn off your phone.
You always told me to turn off
My
my phone.
phone.
Because
Not
you've
off.
had it
It's
go
just
off
silent.
twice in the middle of shows.
One show.
Twice.
One show twice. That's like, okay, did I have
No,
5 drinks?
twice.
If they're all the same drink.
Josh Greeley, Aaron Dismuke.
Aha.
Oh, yeah. Whatever, it was the same phone.
Don't fuck with me, son. That's right. I know.
She knows.
So I was telling you guys about my wreck, right?
Yeah.
Because I had a wreck. I should talk about the wreck. I mean, I can't talk about it that much because it's not that interesting. But I had a wreck.
Why
For the
talk to
first
Jerry
time
when we
since
can
I was
talk about
16
you?
years old.
I know, right?
I'm providing fodder for Jerry to comment on.
Okay, I'm going to comment on your story. Pay no attention to me. I'll just comment as we go.
Oh my God, I love this idea. Okay, so like a week and a half ago.
Bored.
That's like 12.
The end.
No, it's like 10 days. No,
Continue,
14,
sorry.
7, 8, 9, 10. 11 days ago.
No, it was a pretty decent
I had a
wreck.
It was, I'm surprised my car wasn't
As far as
totaled.
wrecks go,
Decent.
it was a good one.
No one was hurt.
No one was hurt badly.
No one was hurt badly. I did fuck up my back a little bit, but that's not really.
So only the important person got hurt.
Only the person at fault.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was kind of. I
Well,
was
then
pretty
you
much at
kind of
fault.
had it coming.
I did.
Yeah.
I
So
did.
he did cut your brakes.
I think. I know it's okay. Scary because my brakes just failed on me. Like I was in
Yeah,
the
they
rain,
did.
they locked up, and I was coming off the service road or coming off the ramp to the service road, going like 45 miles an hour when I had to slam my back of this
Wow.
truck. But it was so creepy because I had like enough time.
To see it coming.
Yeah, I had enough time to totally know that holy shit, I'm about to wreck, and it felt like an eternity. And I'm just like, I just grabbed the wheel and tensed up to brace
What
for
if it
impact.
really was
and I
like just
went
5 and you're just, no.
Did the airbags go off?
No, they didn't, which was weird. They didn't go off.
Wasn't there? Well, no, because it wasn't that year. Because we were talking about we both have Hondas. There was a recall on the airbag thing.
Yeah, well, the
That's
Honda's like 6 years old too, so I
That's
don't know that. But I don't know.
And you
That.
That's
just
no
paid it
excuse.
off.
That's
I know.
no,
I just paid it off.
yeah, that's no excuse not to have working airbags.
Well, I didn't know they didn't work until it was too late. I'm not in the habit
That's
of testing
usually
my
how it
slaves
happens.
every day. Like, let's see.
Well,
Let's
you
go
don't-
run into a tree.
Yeah, you don't test them every day.
Well, you can't. It's not like checking
No,
the air
but
pressure
I mean,
in your tires.
I'm sure they have some way of checking that sort of thing.
Well, I sort of checked it myself that day, and nope, didn't work. So, but I was so afraid the car would be like totaled because the damage was extensive, especially considering no one was hurt. I was really surprised. But I guess it was just because I had time to tense up. They say that makes all the difference. Like you get whiplash if you
You're
are
not
caught by
supposed to tense
surprise.
up.
I've always been told you're supposed to tense up because it's when you don't tense up. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I'm told it's when you don't tense up that the whiplash is worse because you get hit and your body jerks
You're
because you're
jello-y
not
instead of-
braced against it, and that's what causes the whiplash. I think if you're braced against it, you'll incur less injury because your body is kind of trying to absorb the impact a little bit because you expect it. Because I know one time when I was a kid, I was involved in a really bad accident where all of us in the car got really bad whiplash because we were hit from behind and we didn't expect it, and we just kind of, pitched forward really, really, like, just our bodies just kind of snapped.
I don't know if it has anything
And
to
it
do with
hurt.
tension. Like I just Stephen just read this report, and I pretended to read it by just listening to him tell me the story. Apparently there's like a new study that they did crash tests on, and you're supposed to go toward the accident or toward the car. Like if you're getting hit on the side, go toward it. Otherwise, and that way you'll go the opposite way instead of going the opposite way, because then you'll get pushed toward it.
I see.
So I don't know. I don't know anything about tension, though. I've never been told, like, tense up or anything like that.
Well, I think the guy told us a long
accidents.
time ago that because after we all got whiplash really bad from that wreck when I was a kid, the doctor told us, next time, just if you know it's coming, brace for it, because it'll help absorb some of the shock.
Yeah, I heard a long time ago a doctor said, don't try not to get in accidents.
It had to be a doctor. It had to be a doctor.
Don't
who the fuck are you? Oh, well, you're a doctor.
Don't get in car accidents.
You're a fireman?
He would say, I remember vividly, he would say, don't get in car accidents, son. Son, don't do it.
Was this a doctor?
Follow at a safe distance.
Don't get into accidents. Try not to get shot.
Yes.
Stabbed.
Wear a
Basically,
condom.
Or fall in love with a whore.
Wear a condom.
A condom will not help you in a car accident.
Don't hang around assholes with the flu.
I don't know how I got whiplash. I was wearing a condom.
Yeah.
For me, that would be just like I was just hanging out, like made it a bracelet. Nothing. It did nothing to protect me.
What? It's not like that little magnet bracelet that's supposed to help with your posture.
That sucks.
Well, yeah, it's a fucking magnet. Of course it's not going to work.
No, I would never use it. I've got too much electromagnetic.
I had someone hand me one of these at a mall kiosk.
You bought one.
No, I didn't. Someone bought it for me, and I wore it because it was a gift. And I'm like, I'm going to wear this.
I remember one night where we just kept pushing each other, like.
Yeah, no, because it was
a very eventful night.
Having fun, but no. Somebody in the family gave that for me as a gift, and they all wore them, and I'm like, fuck, I guess I got to wear this now. You never know, maybe it'll work, but later.
Why would it work?
Well, I don't know.
What would make it work?
Maybe there's some magical dimension.
Titanium bracelet.
I know,
There's not a magical
but I could
dimension.
be wrong. Maybe the laws of physics will change tomorrow night. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
No, you're wrong. No.
But no, I just wore it to be nice, which I shouldn't have done.
Sorry,
and then
continuing.
And then the next, I was in a mall and they had a kiosk of these things, and they're like, "Hey, you want to try one of these?" And I'm like, "Why would it work? My body is not made of metal. This is magnets. Like my body, it's not going to align my spine."
What do I look like, Wolverine? To you?
Yeah, exactly. What do I look like, Wolverine? I'm not a comic book character, but yeah. Funny, those things really aren't around anymore.
I'm not a comic book character. Go peddle that shit somewhere else.
Wait, let me go get my grandma.
But how many accidents have you been in? Car accidents in your life since you've been driving? Like one.
Really?
Hey.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Was it just a bad one?
I got hit from.
So you're saying Aaron's already outdone you?
Oh yeah, I got hit from behind by a car that got hit by a car.
Oh, okay.
The
so you
car
got
that caused it.
That's annoying.
That sucks. It's always better than when you're not the one at fault.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't mind not being at fault.
Yeah, it makes it so much less complicated if everyone has insurance.
Yeah.
But I was kind of at fault.
See, that lady never met
but
the
you totally
doctor
owned up
that
to
I
it, and that dude was really cool.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
I said that lady, but the lady, she never met the doctor that I was.
She never met
He
the
could have
doctor
given her some advice. He
giving
could
you
have
the
said,
nuggets of wisdom."
you should drive at a safe distance and try not to get into accidents. If someone would have told her that in all of her 68 years, must have been,
Cars were still new when she probably was first learning to drive. They didn't know how dangerous they could be.
Yeah.
They really didn't. They thought, well, these are so much safer than like a runaway
Cars
carriage.
terrify me. But before I even got my license, I got it late because I didn't want to drive. But if you live in the DFW, for those of you who don't know, you have to have a car.
Yeah.
But I was in a good 20 accidents before I ever got my license, and I wasn't driving or anything like that. So they're like, "You need your license." I'm like, "Fuck you, no." And yeah.
I've always driven like a grandma, so I was always like, "Oh, I totally won't get into a wreck," and I haven't gotten into a wreck.
No, you drive safe, but if
But
I
other
know
people-
Mike McFarland's driving, no, I'll take another car. No, because he's terrifying. It's like, "Oh, what? It's only 30." I'm like, "Yes, it's only 30, so stop going 60. Oh my God.
So if there are any law enforcement agents listening, Mike McFarland evidently speeds
Lives
a lot.
at.
So if you want to look him up and follow his car around and catch him speeding,
Hide in the cedar bushes at the corner of
Terry,
Lamar
let the
and
cat out
360.
of the bag. If
He knows what he did.
If he gets caught, it's your fault now.
Good.
Good.
He knows what he did. So continuing the story.
No, that's it. It was. Oh no. Okay. So the weird thing is So
lied to
I'm
me.
sitting there. The courtesy patrol came and like helped us get our cars into the parking lot of this gas station.
Courtesy Patrol's awesome.
They were pretty awesome. I was
Were they
surprised.
courteous?
They were very courteous, worthy of the name.
Good job.
I was
It's
really
an incredibly dangerous job.
I would imagine
Yeah.
so. I mean, they gotta fucking get out in like freeways and shit. Like that's tough.
High death rate.
Yeah. But so we're sitting there and we're calling our insurance people and we're like, the police to fill out a report and records and all that. And my insurance handled it really, really nicely. But so I called Joshua to come get me because I like.
Were you close to home?
Yeah, I was within 10 minutes. And while we were waiting, because it took forever, because rush hour was just beginning, so it was going to take them forever to get through. 3 other wrecks happened in the same intersection, like in different corners. So like between all of us, we covered like all 4 points of the compass at this intersection. And so there were about a dozen banged up cars in the parking lot of this gas station by the time the wreckers got there, and they had a hell of a
Gas
time
station's
figuring
like,
out. They're like, holy, they had a hell of a time trying to figure out whose car was going where, and I'm like, no, that's my Civic there, not that guy's. There were 2 Civics the same color involved in different wrecks in the same intersection. It was really
One
weird.
Civic?
I know.
Surely.
What are the
Was
chances?
his in better condition? Because you could have totally snaked his
His was in
car.
better condition, actually. But my lucky was probably like hauling dead hookers in the trunk or something. I don't know. That'd be my luck.
Well, hey,
Maybe
free
they were
dead
alive before the
hookers.
accident.
Free dead hookers. What am I going to do with dead hookers?
Same thing anybody would
There's
do.
no
with dead
market for
hookers.
them anymore.
You
They're
bury them.
dead. You bury-
Say some kind words.
Well, I don't want that responsibility. That should be him.
Well, somebody's got to do it. Sometimes the responsibility picks you, sir.
Well, next
Jerry
time
Jewell.
I'll be sure to get the wrong car on the off chance that there's some dead hookers in the trunk that need to find
There's
peace.
nothing wrong with the little larceny.
We're like, but officer, these dead hookers needed to find peace. All right, son.
Thank you, Mr. Fucking
That's
Joel.
like an episode of. That's an episode of Different Strokes waiting to happen.
Probably not. we should not wait for any more episodes of Different Strokes.
Yeah, probably.
They're not going to happen.
They can animate them now.
I guess they could.
The animated series, I'd watch that.
Ooh, why?
Because it'd be awful. And not long ago, I decided to like awful things because they're easier to find and come by. So it's like, liking good things makes life so hard for you because you can't find them very often.
That's true.
So I'm like, I'm going to like awful things. That way I'll be happier more often. Because awful things, there's a lot of them.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things, though.
Not as many.
Not if you're a pessimist.
Exactly.
I'm a pessimist, and I think I'm still on Jerry's side here.
No, you're both wrong.
Well, there's no right or
For
wrong.
every-
It's
there
I think there's a line. I think there's a line, and
on this side of the line, there's like 2 good things, and on this side of the line, there's like 5 billion bad
No, I think there's a line, and it's even Steven down the middle. And you decide if you
you're
want
leave
to
sick
be with one foot in each side, or if you want to go one way or the other. It's your decision.
It's like standing in Texarkana.
Sort of.
but not.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But
That's
not
why,
with a
that is why,
stupid
that is
name
why
at
I
all.
like awful things. I train myself to like awful things so I can get pleasure from awful things because there seems to be
You get pleasure from awful things? Well, I don't know.
That's
that
an
at
awful
all.
thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Sure, but I get pleasure from it. See, it's a revolving door philosophy.
Yeah, a lot of people call it sadomasochism, but
I'm just saying it's helped.
And even then, there's a
it's helped.
safety
It's
word.
helped
It's
a
helped.
lot in life.
Being negative. That way, when something good happens, it's really good.
Not being
Oh, no,
negative,
I'm incredibly
it's
negative,
not
but-
even, it's not even being negative so that when good stuff happens, it's a surprise. I'm not even negative. I'm just very, what's the word? I'm not negative. I am open. I'm like, oh, that's awful, and I love it. That's not
You're
negative.
neutral.
That's not negative at all.
How's that not?
Because I'm happy. I'm pleased by the awfulness. That's not negative. That's psychotic, but it's not negative. Yeah, it's twisted, but it's not negative. Negative is like, everything sucks. That's negative. I've transcended that, I think, to like another level of being where I'm just kind of like, oh, that's awful. Awesome. So it's very different. That's why I like bad movies. That's why I like bad movies.
Oh no, there's we watch a lot of bad movies. Like it's just like, oh, this is so bad, we have to watch it because
I love bad movies.
I like good movies.
I like good movies
strangely enough.
Well, the fun is to make fun of it. Like last time we watched Night of the Comet. That was an amazing night, and it wasn't because of the movie.
Yeah,
it was an amazing night.
Made the experience. I mean, I like good movies too. I'm just saying. Yeah. I encounter a lot more bad movies than good because there are a lot more bad movies out there.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
and
it kind of makes the. If you ever eat like an apple and a pickle together,
why would I do that?
Well, hang on. Let me complete the metaphor.
I like Jana's face there. She's like, "What the?"
If you take alternate bites of apple and pickle at the same time, if you do it just like that, the apple becomes really, really sweet, and the pickle becomes very, very sour. So the qualities in both that you like them for, if you like pickles and apples. Become more intense for the contrast of eating them at the same time. So if I really like bad movies, and I'm watching a lot of them all the time, the occasional good movie that comes up is positively orgasmic, you see. So I think it's a very healthy approach to life, this as you call it, sadomasochistic bent. It makes things easier. I find pleasure in everything. I use my imagination. That's why.
Shut up.
See, that's negative. And I loved every minute of it.
That's why we're friends? Yeah. Fuck you!
Yeah,
why don't you go write an inspirational children's book?
Call it Pickles and Apples. It's Pickles and Apples.
Pickles and Apples.
Not apples and oranges.
I'm serious, Pickles and Apples. Apples and oranges is kind of the same thing.
Sometimes you want a pickle, sometimes you want an apple, sometimes you want both. What do? Pickle apple. Papple.
Or
Pipple.
That sounds like it might give you something you don't want.
Or you could pickle an apple.
You can pickle anything.
I know.
Pickle. I wonder that sounds good. I wonder what a pickle apple would taste like. It may be awful, but I'm ready for it either way.
That would be terrible.
Probably like the apple cider vinegar.
It would be inapplicable.
Do you have an example of something that you thought was going to be really horribly wretched, and it turned out to be fucking amazing? Anything. Food.
Divorce.
That was awesome. I love you, Jerry fucking Jewell. Oh. See?
Yeah.
It's true. Life is easier if you're just waiting for the awful. But yeah. I think some friend of mine who went through divorce recently said something effective like, yeah. Do you know why divorce is so expensive? Why?
Because it's worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had something really like you were totally just digging in, thinking, okay, this is going to be the most awful experience of my week, and it turned out to be something that was so awesome you've carried it with you for years? No, nothing.
No,
nothing good ever happens to her.
Hello. No,
it's sort of the trifecta of emotional responses to the world. Like
no. Well, no. See, but
you're
okay.
On the line, I'm like, everything is awful, but I love it, and you're like, everything's awful, and I hate it.
Well, no, I don't hate it. It's nothing it.
It's just what is.
Sarah, one of my best friends, Sarah, referred to me as an optimistic pessimist. And I corrected her saying, no, I'm just a realist.
But everyone thinks they're realists, so that's not fair.
Optimistic pessimism, sure. But I expect the worst, and if it isn't the worst, great.
But I can relate to that. But have you ever had an experience that was not just not the worst, but so far in the opposite direction of worst that it became awesome?
No.
Wow.
Never.
Jesus. All right then. I'm sad now. And that's awesome.
No, I have an amazing life, but I'm never like, man, this is gonna suck, and be like, you know what? That was actually fucking amazing. That has never happened to me.
Wow.
Because the shit that I'm like, shit, this is gonna suck. It's stuff that is
You were
rightfully
right.
so. Like, I'm not gonna,
Of course, how you think about something a lot of times has a huge effect on whether it sucks or because it's really all your perception anyway.
Oh yeah, that's true. Very true.
It's very true.
Abraham Lincoln used to say that if you look for the bad in someone, expecting to find it, you certainly will, because we're all bad people.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing it right.
We all have bad people inside of us.
I'm being a person through and through, so I don't feel like I'm a bad person.
I'm very good at being.
I'm just a person.
It's really amazing. I mean, there's no.
I think putting adjectives before people should not be done.
The more you know.
I like adjectives though.
But it's
so long as we understand that they're contextual.
As long as it. But how many different ways can you say person or people? How many?
Not very many.
There's this type of person, this type of person, this type of person. Why do you have to? Why?
Well, I don't know.
Well, see,
it's like I say to the kids.
Okay, you
he's
wouldn't
like,
say.
we were talking about Chinese food, and I was like, "Do you honestly think that food knows it's Chinese? It doesn't know. It doesn't know at all. That's just a way we describe a certain kind of food. Just like a Chinese person. Unfortunately, he cannot judge the fact that there are other. Yeah, there are other Asians besides the Chinese. So everyone by default is Chinese.
Or everybody's Mexican. I'm like, no, that woman's Honduran and that woman is
Puerto
Spanish.
Rican,
I am Mexican.
Yeah. But it's adjectives. They ruin everything.
I disagree. I think people.
Well, if you're describing somebody and be like, that guy over there is a dick.
Well, that's one thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Well, that's not an adjective. That's a noun.
Well, no, I'm saying no. I'm saying no.
He's a big dick.
If you're not saying adjective wise, going that guy is a fucking asshole. Yeah, but it's that's a bad guy. That's different. I get it.
But people are very complicated. I mean, we're very simple in one respect, but we're complicated in others. I mean, everything. There's almost nothing you can say about anyone that isn't true in some sense. We're all assholes to somebody. We're all dicks to somebody. We're all heroes to somebody.
So you admit it. Yes!
I completely admit it. We spent the first 10 minutes of the show talking about how I like to get other people sick.
Yeah.
I'm a total dick, but there's more to me than that. It depends on, it depends on the angle, it depends on the day, it depends on that. Well, no, you're never going to say this. We make different types of adjectives or descriptors apply to us depending on the context we're in. And
it's like the hat thing, they think, that I'm a really great person because that's my volunteer job. The gas station, they think of me as, the bitch that doesn't say hello.
Absolutely. And see, for me, it's if I ever encounter someone that really rubs me the wrong way. And it happens because I'm.
Well, he's rubbing you.
I'm usually
weird.
Well, at least they're rubbing me. That was nice. But they're doing it wrong.
You are doing this wrong.
But I've met people that really piss me off, and I
we all do.
We all do. Life is complicated, and we're all going to run into people that are like, today you are to me a dick. But I try not to be mad at them for that moment. I mean, I'll be mad at them for that moment. That's not the right way of saying it. But I will step back and go, you know what? What I feel about that person is only valid to me, and I try to, as long as I can dig really deep, and sometimes I have to dig very deep for this, depending on the person, and imagine them saving a kitten or a puppy. As long as I can imagine them doing that, I can't stay mad at them for very long.
The Family Guy thing. Yeah, that guy's a jerk. Hey, he gives money to kids. Kids with diseases.
Yeah. It's
not that I gave them because I wanted to be a bastard.
Well, because kids piss me off. But no, I think so. I don't know that we have to use words. We have to communicate. I think we have to. So long as you understand that words are never.
Actors.
I think so long as we understand and have an appreciation for the language, for the limits that language puts on you. That there's nothing you can say about anybody that's ever going to be totally definitive. In this, yes, today this person was a dick to you, but on this same day this person was a hero to someone else or whatever. It's just all about.
Although it would be funny if it happened on the same day. I saved an orphan from a burning building, but then I kicked a cat.
Yeah. But then I stole a cat from a guy, who was waiting in the rain.
I deserved it. I saved someone.
Yeah, karma.
Do you ever do that though? Do you ever do that when in everyday life, you do something really good that you feel very, not proud, but you feel, wow, I'm surprised I had that in me. I didn't think I could help her. Whatever, you do something that you feel good about, and then later you do something really douchey,
to
just
completely
accidentally,
negate it.
and go, fuck, I was having I was such a good person until I cut that person off. You know what I mean? Do you ever do that? And, and then get on to yourself for doing the bad thing afterwards?
No, not that.
Okay, see, I never do that. Okay, good. I'm glad we're all in the same mindset here because I don't. I'll be like, we're complicated. The people I helped earlier didn't see that I just cut that old woman off. So, I'm still a hero somewhere.
I got her heart pumping. That's good for the elderly to get the blood going a little bit.
And I love the old Eastern sage phrase when he says, every act, however you can't avoid the fact every act has good and evil in it. Doesn't matter. I could go and save a hospital of, children and from like a burning building or something.
Oh. Saving a hospital from a burning building?
Hospital, what am I saying? Clearly, I've never done this before.
I'd save that hospital.
Children are full of hospitals.
I'm in hospital as in, collection of people, apparently, which is wrong. Saving
There's
a
to
group
work
of
on
kids
my old people farm in Nebraska.
where they can run and frolic and play on their walkers with tennis balls beneath them and reruns of Jag.
But not the hospital.
And Matlock. What was I saying? I completely fucking forgot. I was saying I could go and save, a bunch of kids from a burning hospital or something.
See it.
A burning
I'm not gonna.
Save kids from a
saying,
burning hospital.
What? Is that not possible? A hospital can burn. We just established it's a building. Buildings burn.
In my mind, I'm
And they
seeing
have
like
oxygen tanks in there too.
Exactly. A lot of flammable shit in a hospital.
Well, when cities grow legs, it's gonna be that'll be
in
real.
anime too long.
2012 or whatever.
Oh my god.
I remember when hospitals just stayed there.
Yeah, those were the old days.
I remember when the hospitals came to you.
Oh, I'm crying.
Well, it's just one guy who was a doctor to make house calls, but
He used to tell me every time, try not to get into car accidents.
Yes, I love it.
Follow at a safe distance.
But my point was, and I have a point in all this, I could save all these kids from this burning hospital building that's on fire with children inside of it. and everyone, oh, you're a hero. One of those kids could grow up to be the next Hitler. Mm-hmm. And then I would have been, obliquely responsible for a lot of bad shit. But I couldn't have known that, you see. So what happens?
The needs of the many always outweigh the needs of the few.
But sometimes you can't know the needs of the many.
Then it's not your problem.
Well, it's everybody's problem because now Hitler is unleashed on the world.
He's already been unleashed on the world.
Well, another Hitler.
Hitler 2?
Hitler 2. Hitler Part 2. The Boys from Brazil. I don't know.
3D.
In 3D. But yeah, so everything you do has good and bad in it, I suppose. Good and bad are just categories. Just like saying this person's a dick or that person's a hero, they're just words, and they only make sense in a very limited context, and they're never absolutely definitive.
Yeah.
It's important to
because
keep that in
only
mind.
a Sith speaks in absolutes.
That's an absolute statement. Oh, paradox.
2 of them. 2 dots.
One thinks that you should avoid accidents, and the other says, well, if you're going to be in an accident, just be sure to enjoy it.
Imagine you're a zoom lens. And, oh, look, it's the car up close. There's my head in the windshield. It's so real.
It's like it's happening
Is that
to
blood?
me. These effects are amazing.
Wow, the production values on this accident were really amazing.
Just watching your life like this.
It was like that for a few moments when I was in the wreck. I was like, I kind of feel like you're in a movie, which is sad. I know that's sad.
I've been
know
there
that
too.
My
I've
natural
heard that from a lot of
perception
people.
has been corrupted by a lifetime of watching television and movies. So now I step back
because you're thinking about it like that's a good angle. What's happening right now?
Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, my God, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's not affected by movies. Maybe that's just our natural perceptive field when we're in an intense situation, and we have brought that upon movies.
Yeah.
I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. I'll have to watch a movie about it because I don't get it. But if it's an awful movie, I'll know I'll like it.
I'm pretty sure it would be the chicken.
Yes.
Where did the chicken come from?
Primordial ooze.
Mm-hmm.
Chickens just don't come out of primordial ooze. Well,
Clearly, you've never been to San Angelo.
oh, I have.
Oh. I have some family there. Yay.
My friend went to college there. And then when I was working as in
A
advertising,
bunch of my
I had to
cousins
go
have
there.
gone to ASU.
Yeah. It's a good college. I had fun when I visited my friend that went there. It was fun.
It seems like it's not connected to San Angelo at all. I'm like, this is a really nice campus. It's in San Angelo, though. Ay.
Bye.
Bye.
Should we? What do we
We
do?
can ask.
Do we have time for a question for a break?
Yeah, let's ask
Ask
what
questions.
did you-
Now we
No.
ask you questions.
Now we pry.
Now we pry. Well, they pry.
First question is from Gretchen. It says, "Hello, Jerry."
Hello, Gretchen.
Hello, Jerry. She doesn't talk like that at all. Okay, as
No one
all the
talks
listeners
like
of TAS should know by now, Tatum is a giddy fanboy over Doctor Who, and
Yeah.
Terry loves a good zombie flick. What? So, I'm curious to
And
know.
a bad zombie flick.
Yes,
Now we know.
we do. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe.
Go, Joe.
Okay, so I'm curious to know if there's anything that makes you geek out and turn into a bundle of excitement. Also, I want to give a shout out to my lovely Jana, who told me she would be at the recording today. Hi, Jana. I love you. Winky face.
Winky face. That sounds like a nice way of saying dick face.
When Gretchen
Janet's like,
says winky face, when Gretchen says winky face, is that like she's calling you winky face or she's giving you a winky face?
She's giving-
I don't understand that.
No,
Is
she's
that the way
like,
I'm
hi,
don't
Jana.
call me
I love you. Dick face. Like,
I love you, dick face.
It's like friends
we
would do
just
that.
sullied this
That's
like
how
very
friends
sweet.
talk.
No, I'm
What
just.
was there was a question in there? What do I?
Do you
What
have
makes
anything you
like,
geek out about?
Do you get geek out and really like enthusiastic about anything? Anything?
No.
Anything? Did you at
No,
one
not
time?
like music.
I think
something.
No,
that-
I think
that
I was
gets your motor
born
running.
without adrenaline glands.
Jana, is he
I'm
lying?
not sure.
Okay.
I mean, but I guess you don't have to be like galvanized,
Oh my God!
but anything that just kind of you go. That was anything that kind of takes you out of yourself, and,
Like
and you know that
a genre you
that kind of puts you in the
prefer?
zone, as it were.
I guess sometimes music.
All right.
So you are a musician, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple instruments too, right?
Not at the same time.
But multiple instruments, but separately.
Separately.
What all do you play?
Things with strings.
So like tattered jackets. What?
Yeah.
Bass.
Oh yeah. I could,
Bass
yeah.
guitar.
I'd play bass and normal guitar. See, once you say bass, you have to say normal guitar. Because if you say I play bass, guitar, well, yeah, bass guitar. Okay,
Yeah.
that's only one instrument, dumbass. I have a mandolin that
that's cool.
I'm getting better on.
Nice.
I have a violin that I'm not getting better on.
Those are hard.
They are.
Those are very hard.
They're very.
No frets.
That's not the bad part.
That was the bad part for me when I tried to learn.
Yeah, I'm better. I'm terrible, but but I'm better with my left hand than I am with the bow. The bow is a whole new thing.
Oh yeah, the bow.
Yeah.
Shit's tricky.
But fingers and picks, those I can do. And piano a little bit. But
yeah. Do you ever play the banjo?
I have played banjo, but no, I would like to play banjo more. I actually, on the way over here, I said that's probably going to be the next instrument.
I think banjo is one of the hardest string instruments to play.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Nah.
Yeah, maybe you're just awesome at it.
I do. I will be.
I have no doubt.
I will be.
Jared fucking Jewell on banjo.
I've been told by several people that it's just incredibly, maybe not the hardest, but definitely really, really hard because it's so.
I do a lot
The
of
finger work has to be so complicated.
I do a
because you're
lot
so
of
limited.
finger picking on guitar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think I'll take to the banjo pretty well. I just have to learn a new,
Come over, we'll jam.
Pretty much it kind of works like mandolin. Once I found the scale, once I was like, okay, well, how do I play a scale on this thing? Once
Yeah.
I found that, I was like, okay, well, I already know this much stuff I can do on it, So I think banjo will be no different.
On bass, do you play with a pick?
No.
Yeah, see,
Fingers.
me too. I just
How long does it take to build up calluses doing that kind of thing?
Not long.
No.
Not long?
No.
No, the only thing I had to get
Well,
used to
it
was...
depends on how much you play.
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you can deal with the getting calluses. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big thing.
Because that's the point, right? Like, as you're getting the blisters, you have to keep playing, right?
And that's
you can't
the thing
really give your
is,
fingers a break.
Yeah.
throughout the years, a number of people have asked if I'll teach them to play guitar, and that's where I lose my patience right there. Is like after hearing my fingers hurt for like the 10th time, I'm like, I'm not teaching you anymore. If you're going to complain about how much your fingers hurt, then you don't want to play.
Yeah.
So you might as well just quit.
It's like
Sound like
working
my
out.
old bass teacher. Like, it's like, okay, you're not going to be one of those chicks. It's like, I have to cut my nails and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. And he's like, good. I don't want to hear that shit.
It's like working out. It's like working out. When you're sore as hell the next day or later that day, that's how you know you've had a good workout. So it's a rewarding experience because it's a signal that you've done good. So I love feeling sore. I'm like, oh, okay, I know that was a great workout because I can barely fucking move. Same thing with an instrument. Mm-hmm. You don't really develop calluses on a piano so much, but your fingers do get really...
Yeah, I bet.
limber, and like I can do crazy distances on this thing now because of it, and it fucking hurts, especially your pinky, because you've got the two tendons in your pinky and whatever this finger is are connected. So they're not
your ring finger.
Is it your ring finger? Yeah. They're connected. They're basically controlled by the same tendon, really deep back.
And we're all like,
and which is why they're not that you. Why you can't really. Move them independently without really focusing. Like this one, you can't curl this one. This one will move a little bit. It's really hard to do. So yeah, but like your training as a pianist, they try to teach you to make the pinky independent as possible, and it requires all kinds of crazy exercises that hurt like hell. But no, because I do it.
well, pinky with anything, like pinky with the bass. I'm like, God.
Yeah.
Music should hurt. You one there has to be pain for there to be beauty, perhaps. Maybe, you know.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Love it.
Okay. We're skipping around. Okay, this is a simple question, but I know it'll get a good answer. This is from Cody.
Hey,
what is the
Cody.
worst job you've ever worked?
It's for all of us.
I've had some doozies.
Worst job.
I worked in a plastics factory. Mm-hmm. That kind of sucked.
What was that like?
Graveyard shift, making, I think, like 10 cents over minimum wage because it was graveyard shift.
Of course.
And you stand at a mold injection machine and it squeezes the liquid plastic into it, and then the machine separates and the thing drops off, and you take it out and you trim the edges of it and take alcohol and wipe it down. You put it in a bin or stack it, or depending on what you're working. Basic like I've had a lot of factory type jobs. They suck.
Is it why? What are they? Is it just because they're so monotonous, or?
Yeah, I don't do well with monotony. And
routine.
Yeah, and I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
But if it's a habit that I don't really enjoy in the first place, it gets old really fast.
Yeah.
But something like a job, you can't just pick up and leave every time it gets old.
No.
Because then you wind
That's
up
where I'm going.
nobody wanting to hire you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm the same way, though. I've never had I can't think of a factory job I've had. I've usually worked in retail or some public service, not public service, but you know, in those ways. I worked as a janitor for a while at a movie theater. That sucked balls. I hated that. Hated it. Our job was the team showed up at like 10 at night, you know, and then, or like 10 or 11 and stayed till like 6 in the morning, cleaning everything after the theater was closed. Oh my God. Oof. Cleaning up after people, not just cleaning up after people who.
People are pigs.
People are pigs, especially when they're in public, because they're like, oh, they got people for that.
Yeah,
so they'll just, it's like in their own home. They would never foul their own homes like this. But because
After all, they're getting paid $7 an hour.
Which is why, like, when you're
Right.
out, like, waiters are very surprised and stuff like that. Like, when you kind of, like, pre-bus stuff for them, they're like, why? I'm like, because it's bullshit and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think
Because I've had your job. That's why.
That's why.
Yeah. I think everybody at that age, like at a certain age, should be forced to work in a really underappreciated job where you're forced to deal with people who have a sense of entitlement about what they can expect you to do. Like, well, you get paid for this. I'm like,
I pay your salary.
I don't really care. They could pay me triple what they're paying me right now, and it still does not make having to remove your turd from the rim of this toilet bowl attractive to me. So I'm not going to pretend to be grateful. Thank you. You're lucky I'm not slapping this in your face. Like,
You may want to check your pants.
You may want to check your pants.
Go see a doctor, for God's sakes.
And a tailor. But yeah, that was the worst job. That and working retail during the Christmas season, but like November to January sucks.
I worked in a candle factory once.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it at least smell good?
Oh yeah, I would get wax all over my clothes, not on purpose. It just happens in a candle factory. But yeah, it smelled great. But it's the kind of smell that just, you know, after I quit that job, that smell stayed in my nose for like 2 weeks or so. After it, I just couldn't shake it.
I mean, yes, everyone knows I used to work at Guitar Center. Yes, it had a lot of fuck you moments. But, I mean, I met my husband there. I made a lot of really good friends, stuff like that. So I wouldn't say guitar. I would say it was bartending. Bartending, like, there are people that make it an art form, and I'm a mixologist. I was not one of these people, also because I worked at a fucking gutter punk club where, you know, like...
Do you have alcohol? I want some.
I want a PBR. Why are you opening the can? I'm like, so you don't smuggle it out. God damn it. Or,
why do you drink crappy beer?
Why do you drink crappy beer? Yeah. You call that a Jaeger bomb? Yes. Damn it. But, well, it was
Sorry,
just...
PBR. You're not
PBR.
a crappy beer.
No. I just don't prefer you. Yes, because PBR is just like, wait, I was listening to that anime show, clearly.
And we're offended now.
Yeah.
We're offended.
Well, it was just like the people that I had to deal with because
your red, white, and blue cans are beautiful. Like America.
No, it was just a horrible job. Like, I had to work with a bunch of people that all had drug problems. You know, like, hey, your nose is bleeding. Oh, shit.
Oh, the government.
I'm like, it's not funny. It's not fucking funny. It's not funny at all. Or, you know,
It
like...
is now.
It's kind of funny.
Addiction's hilarious.
It is. But, you know, I had to deal with a lot of skinheads and things like that. So, thank God.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much more difficult than the people that don't have skin on their heads.
It really, really is.
It is.
Because, you know...
The non-skinheads.
Yes.
The
people that don't like other people.
People that have been scalped.
Yes. But yeah, no, so I hated that job, and Steven and I were both working there. But it's closed now, shockingly. But yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible
I think
job.
you're kind of supposed to hate a job.
Like, yes,
That's
a
kind
job.
of, that's
yeah.
kind of, yeah, it's...
We have a lot of jobs. Yeah, career stuff from...
You're supposed to hate your career too, though, because I know very few people. I think most people, and this is just the way the law of averages works out, most people do not end up doing for a living what they wanted or envisioned themselves doing when they were a kid. And that's because when you're a kid, you're fucking stupid and unrealistic. And you're like, I'm going to be an astronaut, or I'm going to have a pet dinosaur, or whatever, you know, and you end up...
How is that a job?
Well, I don't know. Kids don't make any sense sometimes. But you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Santa Claus, a wizard, and a lighthouse keeper.
And you will be.
And I've played all three of those things. So I've gotten close. But no, these were my aspirations when I was a child. And so, you know,
I wanted to be an oceanographer.
And see,
It's the most random thing. I get like swimmers there taking a shower. And
Joshua wanted to be a paleontologist.
Really?
My dad wanted to be a veterinarian. All sorts of things. And you just don't have most of us, you realize you're like, well, everybody wants those jobs because those are the fun jobs. Everyone wants to be an astronaut or a movie star or a rock star or something. Most people do want some variation on those basic, awesome career archetypes.
Lawyer, doctor.
Yeah, lawyer, doctor, someone that makes a lot of money, doesn't have to work very much, you know, comparatively, and who can just be awesome. Like that's everyone wants those jobs, and that's why we can't all have them, because there's only 2 slots available, and there's 500 people trying to squeeze into it at any given place. So most of us end up just finding something that we can do and not hate so much that we want to throw ourselves off a bridge every day.
No, I want to throw myself off the bridge every day.
I mean,
you don't.
I don't.
So there must be something about the job that hasn't quite got its tentacles into you yet. Did I say that like it's a hentai? That hasn't quite got its tentacles around you yet. Because you haven't jumped off a bridge.
I'm not. I just don't care that much.
So we'll see that, but sometimes I mean, but you still have that ability to not care. Some people work a job they hate so much that eventually they're even robbed of their ability not to care.
Yeah,
and that's when you have to fucking move on.
Well, see, like jobs, yes, like a bunch of us, have daytime jobs, but I don't go oh, I work at blah blah blah. I say I do voiceover. That's what I do. But I don't get to do that and get paid for it as much as, a normal job.
True.
It's kind of a weird status thing, I think, for most of us. I say us, I mean everybody that works some kind of career. We long to have a career that is easily summed up. Mm-hmm. So you can say, I'm a doctor. That's easy. Like that evokes all sorts of things in the other person's mind without you having to really trouble yourself with going into descriptions. Well, I'm actually a radiologist. Or I'm actually, this or that and the other. I'm an architect or I'm a lawyer. All those things. They're just big block letter words.
I'm a lawyer. What kind of law?
Family. That carry a lot of connotations with them, and so you can you're free to just sort of just say I'm that and walk away from it, and the people are impressed. You don't have to qualify by saying, well, I work because I'm like, oh, I'm an actor. Well, I'm a voice actor. Well, I'm a dub voice actor. And I'm like, well, I'm a writer. Well, I'm a script writer. Well, I'm an adaptive script writer. You have to keep giving these levels. I feel like I have to personally.
I work to get money.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I do. Yeah. And I work to get money.
Or when Steven always says, I'm an engineer, they're like, oh, you're an engineer. He's like, well, an audio. An audio. Like an engineer's hat on and a little bandana. An audio engineer. They're like, audio.
Oh, poor Steven.
Casey Jones. Is he gonna make it? No.
I think I can. I know.
I can't.
The little engine that costs.
But it's funny. I think most people are very self-conscious about their jobs. If they're not doctors or lawyers or architects or something, big and block lettery, they're self-conscious about it. And so you have to. It's weird. I mean, I know I am. And it's not because I don't enjoy it. It's because I'm like, I have to qualify what I'm saying. Because if I say actor...
I get that. I totally get that.
Like,
I guess I've just never really...
I know what they're going to picture is not at all what I actually do. I'm like, well, I'm a voice actor. Oh, and they think, this time... Well, now let me take it down a little further. Let me be a little more specific. And by the time I get to the end of it, it's completely lost any mystique for them because they don't understand what I'm talking about anymore. And so I kind of feel embarrassed for having to lay it out. I'm like, okay, I'm just... So I will frequently lie. And it's not because I'm not proud of what I do or that I don't enjoy it. I do, especially considering the path I was on before I sort of accidentally fell into this.
Drugs are bad.
Dead hookers, a lot of dead hookers in trunks.
They were alive at one point.
Yeah,
but now they're buried.
But I mean,
now they're dead.
It's like sometimes I think we don't like to. Everybody, not just voice actors or anybody. I mean, sometimes I think we don't like to discuss what we do for a living because. We don't want to be
doing it for a living.
We don't want to be doing it, and we don't want to embarrass the other person who is somehow obligated, to go. Oh, that's fascinating. When we know it's not fascinating at all, and you're like, no, I'm going to spare you the embarrassment of having to pretend to be fascinated by what I say.
Well, I hate though. If you do, I think what we do is really fucking cool, but that's definitely not all any of us do.
Yeah.
But to be like, well, I do a little bit of everything, and then they're like, crap, because now I have to ask, what do you mean by you do a little bit?
What else do you do?
What else do you do? Or
what is your avocation? I always ask people that. I don't put it like that because people are like, what? What is this? James Lipton? No, I mean, I ask them, what do you do for fun? What do you like? I'm far more interested in what people do to enjoy themselves than I do what they do for a living.
Well, my old voice coach, he was always saying, whenever you talk in an audition, never talk about your job, talk about your hobbies. They want to know who you are. They clearly know what you do. And I'm like, that's fascinating to me.
That's good advice, I think. Yeah. I think generally, I mean, I know if I was in a career that I absolutely hated, hated so much.
Well, then it wouldn't be a career, it'd be a job.
But let's face it, if you're doing it for longer than a certain amount of years, it's a career, whether you want it to be or not.
Nope.
It's
never.
But I think I'm just, people resent that their jobs accounts for so much of who they are in the eyes of other people. And so I don't want them to feel fenced in by that. I'm like, tell me what you like. Tell me something about yourself that you are pleased to be defined by. Like, that interests me more. I always want to know what people, how they prefer to be seen. And, when you focus on their job, they're not given the chance.
That is the weirdest thing, like, that's just now happening. Like, when Steven and I meet new people, they're like, so what do you do? He's like, I hate getting asked that question.
I do, too.
Like,
I do a lot of things.
So what do you do? I do all this, all that.
Yeah.
It's like talking, like, about the weather, though. It's like something people do. They're just like, I
hate talking about the weather, though. You're in line at the grocery store, and they're like, it's raining. I'm like, yeah, but we needed it.
What's the most original and unique icebreaker you've ever said to someone else, the complete stranger, just to get the ball rolling in a conversation? Do you stand by them and do that?
What about you? Let Jerry think. What about you?
I usually try to focus on something interesting that's going on and ask them, like, if we're... and I'll try to. Sometimes I'll try to ask really normal, like, everyday, bland questions in a very, unique way that kind of disarms them and makes them laugh a little bit. Like, instead of asking what they do for a living, I'll ask them, so what do you hate doing every day that you have to pay the bills by? And then we're like, oh my God, because they feel like they don't have to act like they like their job. And
like a specific instance that you can think of where you're like, I want to talk to this person.
Sometimes I'll focus on, like, something they're wearing that they seem very, very proud of, and I'll ask them, that's a really fascinating little trinket you've got on there. There's got to be a story behind that. Tell me that story, and I'll just kind of tell them, tell me that story. It usually focuses on tell me the story behind that thing, and they're usually very glad to do it. Sometimes they're not, and I'm like, well, then why the fuck are you wearing this thing? Because it clearly, but that's because they're not used to people taking as much of an interest. And but yeah, I like the way a person is put together. I'm like, well, this is something you chose. This thing you're wearing, that's your choice. Tell me the story behind that, and they'll usually, warm up to that very, very well.
Pardon me.
She's a lady.
I am.
I think when it happens, it's probably always humor. And usually I'm not talking to anyone specifically. It's just someone will say something and it makes me think of something else. So I say it out loud and then people laugh. And
you're wonderful at that.
You are. You're so much fun to, like, record with. You just really are. You're awesome.
I'm so fun.
You're so fun.
Jerry's one of my best friends. We hang out a lot, and he comes over to the house, and I'm always sore the next day from laughing too hard because, like, you're a funny motherfucker.
I'm funny.
Funny in a really weird and understated way. Like, you're just so. You just said something there.
Weird and
didn't make sense. And I'm going to point out how ridiculous what you just said is. That's your sense of humor.
Everything's ridiculous.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
I love irony, and it's everywhere.
Yes. Yes. That's the way you
It is the ripe
friends.
fruit ready to be picked.
Low-hanging fruit, yeah. What about you? Any instance of just getting, like, an icebreaker that...
I met my friend Patrick. I saw this guy walking around. I was out with my friend Janine and her girlfriend. And so, of course, we were in Oaklawn because that's the only, like, very uber gay-friendly area of the DFW, or namely Dallas.
It's German and homosexual. Okay.
But we were hanging out, and I saw this guy walking around, and I thought he was cute. I don't now, but I love to tell him that. I'm like, yeah, no, I thought you were cute. That's why. But I saw him walking around, and I just finally walked up to him at a gay club, and I went, I know you're not gay. That was the first thing I ever said to him. And he's like, sorry. I'm like, I know you're not gay. And that's how we became friends. Is me calling him out on looking for women, because they thought they were safe.
I did have someone come up to me at a gay club once. And it was a one-liner, but it was the cleverest one-liner that's ever worked because of just how they use it. Ones. They came up there and like, hey. I'm like, yeah, because they're shouting this over music and people. And they're like, hey, do you like peanut butter? I'm like, yes, I do. Awesome. I think we have just enough in common to fuck. And I was like, you're right. we only need the one thing, and then that was great. It totally worked on me.
Okay, that's different. Well, actually, no. I guess I was hitting on him. Yeah, but yes, I love very clever. Like if I was ever getting hit on, well, granted, like I got hit on a lot last night when we went out, and I'm like, man, were they always this bad? The one-liners, really? But really good ones. Even if it's a horrible rest of if it's funny. Come on, you're always going to remember that person.
I think, I don't know. There's something I don't like about one-liners. It's too easy. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right. But it's like the difference between a good joke badly told and a bad joke well told. Yeah. Like for me, the comedy of a bad joke is watching the poor bastard trying to sell it to you.
Yeah.
Jump through the hoops of like, this is a bad joke and there is nothing you can do about this. And I will laugh at them. But I'm impressed by the balls it takes to try to sell that joke.
Yes.
And so I'm much more impressed by a bad joke well told than a good joke that's told badly. Because then the joke's doing all the work for you. And I'm not impressed with you as a person because you didn't even write that joke. Mm-mm. See? Yeah. Your jokes, fortunately, have the brilliance of being both really good jokes and well told. But not everyone can be geniuses like that.
Not everyone can be a genius like me.
We mere mortals, in the scene. It's like there is no such thing as a good one-liner that on its own works. Like there is no such thing. No. So it's all about how you sell it. It is all about how you sell it. And if you sell it, if you're going to be brave, like the guy that told me about the peanut butter thing, I'm like, that took a lot of balls. And I appreciate that. So I'm impressed with you, sir. Yes. Let's
I had a guy, come up to me. This is forever ago. Where do you live? I'm like, why? I just want to know where I'm waking up tomorrow. And I went, wow, that was horrible. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, see, because I was able to be like, blah, blah, blah. And you just owned it. Yeah.
But you think one-liners are too easy for them? And they are.
They are. And they're cheesy. And they're very...
Do women do
too
one-liners?
Many people don't know how to deliver them.
Well?
They don't know how to own it.
I don't think women really do one-liners, do they?
I don't know. I've never been.
You've dated ladies, but it was like high school.
Like a long time ago, before we even knew what one-liners were.
I've never gotten a one-liner from a girl.
No.
It's funny. It's some weird kind of double standard. I think that in.
Well, I mean, clearly, like if you're at like
in a dating situation,
a gay bar, clearly. Yeah. One-liners,
no, but like in a dating situation, when you go to some watering hole where you're to go find someone to go home with for the night, it's beholden to the man to make the first move. So usually the icebreaker is the man has to be the one to break the ice. Right. And so that's why we use one-liners, because it's like, oh my God, what can you possibly say? And you're like, hey, how about that weather? Or, whatever.
Or my friend Aaron's is still one of my favorites, is he walks up to any lady and he nervously, like he Michael Cera's it essentially, just very awkward and goes, hi, hello, how's it going? Please touch me. That's all it is. And it has worked every time. I told that to Aaron.
Oh, God.
While we were recording Shikabane Hime, and he texted me. He's like, I tried that. Women love it. I don't want to know this. Why do you have my number for this? But no, he's like, it made the girl laugh. So it was a great one-liner.
Have you ever used a one-liner, Jerry, on someone?
I can't.
Even knowing it was bad and just knowing that I'm going to say this because it's cheesy and bad and I'll get laughed at? No?
I don't see you doing that.
I could see you being very successful at it, though, because you're brilliant like that. You were like, it's...
I've never been the kind to, go to a bar and try to pick up anybody. It's just not... I like... It's
a disgusting process.
To stand around, watch, and talk about people. That's what I like to do. I'm a people watcher.
I am, too, I suppose. I went through a phase where I did the whole bar scene, and then I made a conscious decision. I'm not doing this anymore.
I had to. Working at Guitar Center every night, it was going to the bar because a manager's wife worked at that bar. And
I like laid-back bars that have, a steady clientele.
Yeah.
And they're small.
Yes.
Those are the coolest bars.
Not like
I don't like the hip
what's hot right now. Or
everyone's standing shoulder to shoulder, and the drinks are expensive, and the music is loud. You can't have a conversation with anybody because you have to shout just to be heard by the person next to you.
I can't do concerts. I just
like
can't.
them either.
I've decided I can't.
unless that group or person is really
Well, it's not me. It's
live.
never because of the group. It's because of the people. It's because of all the other people at this concert
This show
that
would
aren't
be
listening
great.
to the music.
Yeah.
That are not there for the music. They're there for the party. And I understand being there for the party. But if it's a band that I like their music, I'd rather you just shut up and let me listen to the band.
I know, it's like I would do much better just sitting at home listening to this on my headphones.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's the thing. Buy the album.
Yeah.
If this is what you want to hear, buy the album.
Exactly. I've yet to see a live show that was so impressive.
That's
that
what
I
I've
felt
always-
it was better than the album.
It's what I've always hated about playing in a band. Playing in a band is great, but playing your own stuff, if you've ever tried, anyone that has knows, it's tough because everybody wants to hear the same crap they always hear.
Yeah.
And it's like, go home and listen to your radio. Save yourself $40 and a drive, and possibly a DUI. Just stay home and listen to your radio. Go buy a bottle. I just don't understand it.
Why do people do that?
Can you guys play this? No.
No.
We probably could, but we don't. Why would we want to?
Go listen to that.
Yeah, go. You got,
I know you have your iPod on you.
Yeah, I know you got an
Like, I
iPod.
want to hear something new, but it should be the same. So I'll know I like it.
Or like if it is a live show, they won't participate in the way that, like, let's say, like when I saw Miyavi, that was a great show. But if it was any of his new songs, which blah, 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 they didn't know how to react to it. Because they're like, I haven't heard this, so I don't know how to feel about it. I'm like, just listen to it.
It will teach you how to feel about it if you just shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah, I love live shows, but sometimes it's really hard. Like,
People are stupid,
Yes,
I think,
yes.
is basically. And that is...
Right, not anybody that listens to this, of
No.
course. But all those other people.
No. Everyone who
you.
listens to this show, everyone in this room, everyone, me, you, all of us, we're all fucking stupid.
but not Jana.
Jana's not a person. She's something else.
She's a corporation.
Jana.
Corporations are people.
Damn it. They are not.
They are by law.
Whatever.
Maybe I think people should be corporations, and we just even this shit out. So we all have the rights of a corporation. Oh, don't get me started on that.
All right. Well, on
should
that,
take a
let's
break.
let's take. I'm like, no, we are not doing this break. No.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll be back. And we're back.
You can tell because Steven's in the background. Poor
I love when he
Steven.
participates because usually, like, even like the Halloween special, I'm like, you should totally tell a story. He's like, no, I don't want
No.
to talk.
Don't want to talk with Steven.
Well, which I think
he's the teller of this group.
our It Gets Better video, I think it was actually much more powerful the way he did it with cards.
Oh yeah, no, Steven's bit is like the best thing about that video. I
Yeah.
think. I cried.
Well, Joel was like, hey, when you see Steven, tell him he's an asshole. I almost cried. And then Ian did the same thing. But yeah, we did it in It Gets Better video.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
really cool. Really cool. Like, it's just something we could do.
It's important to let people know that high school is not how the rest of their life is going to play out.
We actually got a couple of messages from people that are like, hey, I don't listen to your show, but I just wanted to say thanks. I'm like, awesome. That's really awesome.
It's nice to know you can help people contextualize the bullshit they're going through. So they can
And I
soldier
followed
through it.
up that video with appearing in Shit Facebookers Say. It was
See, it does get better.
It gets better. I like you. Yes. And I love her. Jenna.
We all love Jenna.
Winky face.
Jenna is awesome. Jenna, Winky. We love Winky face. It's like something. It's like some sort of creature from the land of Oz.
I'm still thinking
You're
of Jerry
winky
going
face.
dick face, but
Dick face.
it was
I didn't call you that. Your friend, your so-called friend, called you that.
Oh, poor Gretchen. She's like, no, I didn't. I didn't
It
call
was
her
a
a dick
smiley.
face. It was a smiley
semicolon
face.
with a capital D.
Oh, now you're a colon. And not even a whole one.
A semicolon.
You're a partial colon. You've had work done.
All right, should we ask another question?
We should ask.
Okay.
More questions for Jerry. I love doing this because Steven is in there right now wincing.
All right, since we talked about music, this is from Bethany, who is another fan from across the pond. Bethany.
Which pond?
That one.
The one behind my house. Doesn't even have a name.
That one
so
pond
small.
with the stuff.
Frogs.
Water.
Yes.
Moss. Lily pads.
Pond.
Mosquitoes.
Okay, she asks, and I'm assuming this is for all of us, if you could compare yourself to any music album or single you've heard in your life, which would it be and why?
What?
Why?
So,
If I could compare myself to any
I don't know. I think
Album or single?
For me, I'll just throw it out there. I don't know. I think anything that I think is really awesome, that I love a lot, especially music, 'cause I'm a big music guy. I'm reluctant to compare myself to because I feel like I disappear by comparison to things that I think are really awesome. But if I had to pick something that I think really spoke to me when I first listened to it and continues to kind of grow with me, in terms of like, pop music or rock, because there's a lot of classical music that does that for me too. But the Radiohead album OK Computer, I think is fucking brilliant.
That's good.
And continues to I find myself relating to it in new ways every time I listen to it. I think in a weird way that album, I think, came out at just the right time in my life where it really kind of became a part of who I was.
That's good.
I don't know that I don't compare to it as a person. I don't compare to it as a piece of music. I am not as brilliant at what I do every day as these fellows were at doing what they did to put that album out. I would love to say I compared to it, but I don't. Not favorably. But it was certainly one of the most important pieces of music I've ever heard.
Whole album.
Yeah. And I say that because every song on there is brilliant. Every little in between thing is brilliant. All the little verbal chicanery and all that's on there is brilliant. But it's the way things are placed. Like, that album is so organic. One song follows another so incredibly well. It's almost like an opera. It's like a drama just playing out musically, and it's fucking brilliant. Because I love Radiohead, but and I loved their albums before that. But that was the one I'm like, oh shit! Now they get the order of the songs and how that too can be an art form. So I sit down. I can't just listen to a song from that album when I sit down.
I didn't even know you were into Radiohead.
I love them. I'm not into all their. I don't like all their stuff. I didn't like their later phase, but I do like the stuff from the 90s. But yeah, OK Computer is, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard.
Clearly we like a bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know anybody that's just like, no, just this one genre, everything else. No.
They're usually very boring people if you do meet them.
Yeah. But one of my favorite songs, it doesn't, I'm not saying it for a particular, but it's just one of my favorite songs, and I can listen. There are certain songs you listen to, like when you're pissed, when you're happy, when you're trying to get pumped for work, stuff like that, or working out, things like that. But I can listen to the Pixies, Where Is My Mind, anytime, and I love it. It makes me happy.
That's good. That's a good one.
I love that song. But yeah, Reasons, it's just, it always just puts me in a better mood.
There's lots of good albums out there.
It's hard to play.
Jerry said,
And that's the thing is, whenever you come across a good album, and the whole thing, it may even surprise you that the whole thing gets you. But
yeah,
I couldn't compare myself to one. That's just not
comparing apples to pickles,
right? that's apples and pickles, clearly. But I don't know. There are Queen albums I could listen to over and over again. A Toto 4 I could listen to over and over again. Awesome. James Taylor. I love James Taylor. Ray LaMontagne made a good album that it's just all the way through. Good. Every song is good. Levon Helm. Just stuff you don't expect to like. Ben Folds.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. everyone theoretically has something great in them that if they can just get it out there. But was there ever, as a musician, a piece of music or an album? Do you remember the first time you listened to a piece of music and suddenly your view of what music could be was changed? Like, it wasn't, there's a lot of us, especially when we're kids, we listen to what our parents listen to or our siblings listen to. It's just kind of in the background. And we don't really find what we like until much later, usually. Sometimes you never do until you're out of high school. You just listen to what's there, and you just find you like it because it's familiar, but it doesn't really grab you. It's a soundtrack for whatever you happen to be doing. Was there ever, because you're a musician, so obviously your feeling of music is more sophisticated than most people.
By far. Extremely sophisticated.
Well, you have a different relationship to it because it means more to you than just background flutter or white noise, as it does for some. Was there ever, like, the first album or first song or first piece you ever heard that clicked and that made you think, wow, this isn't just background. This isn't just, that suddenly made you realize music could be art, for want of a better word? Is there anything?
I don't think in the beginning, I don't think art ever came to mind. It was just, my dad played guitar, and so, 3 boys all want to play guitar or to learn how. We listened to music all the time. It was, it's the difference of growing up with it, and it was just a normal thing in the house. So it's like,
for the most part.
Well, I mean, it's not really in your blood, but if you're surrounded by it, then that's going to be what it's going to be a part of you for sure.
Sure.
And I don't know, harmonies. I've always been able to hear or pick out the harmonies of things pretty easily and sing them all separately, part by part. I've just always heard it that way. So it's like,
beautiful singing voice.
That part of it's easy for me because I've always heard it that way. And, my mom listened to the Beatles a lot and the Beach Boys and the Everly Brothers. The Everly Brothers is where you learn everything you need to know about harmony. You can learn from the Everly Brothers. Everything you need to know.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And once you understand that, it's like, it's limitless. Once you understand how limitless the same friggin' number of notes is, that's when you're opened up. That's when you go, holy cow, there is no end to the things that can be created musically, even though we've only got these notes.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how that works? Like, the more limitations you have, the more limitless what you can do with those limitations is. It's so bizarre. So I'm always more impressed by musicians, well, any artist, writer, or whatever, who really focuses on, I guess what I like to refer to, paying their debt to the heritage that they're trying to be part of, Like, I'm never as impressed by people that can just spontaneously be really good at something. I like the people that really work in the shadow of this ongoing dialogue that's been, happening for ages between various, artists, musicians. Many of them never knew each other, of course, but once you put something out there, it's out there. It becomes part of the fabric of what's available to other generations, and all of us kind of struggle with it and to find our place in it. If you like music, then you kind of struggle, or maybe struggle is the wrong word. I find it a struggle for me personally, but you find a place in it somewhere, and you become obsessed with it, and it becomes your whole life in some respect. And so I'm more into, like, people that just kind of sit down and hammer out a tune on the piano without really knowing what they're doing. I'm like, it may sound very pretty, but I'm never as impressed by that as people that have really, who kind of display this obsession with what's come before by just having to, like, for me, when I listen to pieces, once I hit that point where I was like, oh my God, music is really something special to me. Once I figured that out, I was obsessed with it, and I had to figure out how it worked. I had to, take it apart and see all the wheels and all the levers, and so everything I put out, everything that I created musically, or every time I sat down to play.
J. Michael Tatum puts out, everybody. You heard it first.
Well, I think we all know that. But everything I did musically at that point was all very much it was me kind of working through where do I fit into this huge tradition that I love.
Well, and you can learn a lot sitting down and hammering out songs.
Sure.
You can learn a lot that way if you pay attention. That's kind of, I think, the separation in what you're talking about is some people just never pay attention to it. But if you sit down with a tune and you hammer it out and you figure it out that way, and then by the time you've figured out halfway through it, you go, oh, this is also this, or I could take this and it also makes this, or this is, actually if I just change this would be this. And once it starts, it's never ending.
Yeah, it's. Was there ever a time in your life where music, because music was just around and just part of your everyday existence, was there ever a time in your life where it wasn't around and you missed it and like suddenly became aware of just how important it was to you because it was gone?
No, the closest I've come was, I guess my junior year in high school. I had to have my tonsils taken out.
Oh.
And so I couldn't sing I wasn't supposed to sing for, I think, a month. That killed me.
That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, that was no fun.
I
got really depressed.
Oh, that sucked. Could you listen to music while that, or could you not?
I could listen to it, but I have this weird thing with music. It's kind of like the concert thing. When I go to a concert, if I can't watch the band, which I'm not going to be able to because it's going to be too loud and all the people, we already talked about that. But if I can't do that, then I'd rather be up there than be in the crowd. And it kind of, there's something about being a musician when, especially jam bands. For me, if I see a jam band playing and they're doing well and everybody's listening to each other and everything's clicking, I want to be up there.
Yeah.
And to not be able to get up and grab an instrument and go up there drives me nuts. So it's just like, I'd rather not even be there.
Oh, see, I totally feel that. I do. And so when I find an album or a piece of music that I really, really like, I want to share it with people. And it's so, almost never find, an enthusiasm commensurate with your own. I mean, maybe you do if you're lucky, but for the most part, like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard, listen to it. And someone goes, oh, that's pretty good. And you're like, I have to seriously rethink being friends with you now. How does this not completely electrify you? But because that was me, because I was always into stuff that people were like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it's hard to find. I mean, that's true for whatever you're into. It's always
those really hard cinema.
That resonate.
It's really hard being such a big cinema dork.
Yeah.
Well, and then like trying to learn an instrument, being older too. Like nobody cares because you're not a kid anymore. You should, if you don't know it by now, why are you trying to learn it now?
There's a lot of truth to that. There's a huge difference in being, let's say, 8 or 9 years old. And being able to play something impressive on an instrument. Yeah. And being able to play something on an instrument when you're 36 years old. Yeah. Because it may be just as amazing and probably improved upon and way better by now, but nobody gives a shit.
Nope.
They don't care, and they're not impressed.
It's kind of like we all have that friend who discovered sex way later than the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Whose virginity was well intact by the time they were like, and who finally, when their first time out, then come back and tell everyone like they've just climbed Mount Everest, and you're like, oh, baby, that was something we discovered like 15 years ago. And it's hard to have a conversation with them because then they become fanatics about it because they find it impossible to integrate this new experience into themselves. And so it's all they want to talk about. And you're like, we've kind of already been down this road. And you feel, never is it more evident, in that sense, like how very different levels you're on. But, it's kind of the same thing.
Well, we do that with you can do it with anything, like music, blah, blah, blah. Or a friend of mine had just seen a movie that, like, I grew up with, and they're like, and they wanted to talk about it. I'm like, no, I saw that 20 years ago. I know how it is. It's very exciting to too.
What's really funny, and this has come up between Josh and I a lot recently, are films I grew up watching that I loved.
Because
somehow
we're doing that too.
He
Yeah.
never saw, even though we're the same age and we lived not very far. I mean, we both grew up in Texas. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but you both grew up very differently.
Yeah,
Very,
exactly.
yeah.
But I'm like, how did you not ever see The Goonies or Neverending Story or all these? I mean, and not movies.
You
by the way.
can't watch them now.
You can't. And it's funny because, like, so one night, like, some friends of ours were like, we have to watch Neverending Story. And I was, oh my God, I hadn't seen this since I was a kid. It'd be so much fun because we're totally revisiting this. And the memory cheats. The memory absolutely cheats. I remember this fantastic film that moved me to tears.
Yeah.
And you know, just hours of reverie about, oh, this wonderful land and this adventure, da-da-da. And now I watch it and I'm able to recapture all that because at some point that was part of what was going on in my head because I was a kid.
Yeah.
Joshua never had that. So he is in a room full of fanatics watching this movie for the first time going, I really don't get it.
I hate that. When you're the odd man out.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a Monty Python movie, and I saw it with 5 people who all wanted to quote it. I'm like, I hate this movie, and it's because of you.
If you, the lesson here, kids, is if you are late to the game for any reason,
Don't tell anyone.
don't show up to the game with friends that know the game well because they will fucking ruin it for you. Watch it on your own and get through the weird phase of just completely obsessing over it for a few months or years, however long it takes you. Never talk about it until you've been able to integrate the experience and who you are as a person, and you can talk about it as though you've been able to do this since you were a child, and then no one will be any of the wiser, and they won't ruin it for you.
See, but I like doing like what you and Josh would do, like Steven and I do, because Steven and I are, Steven's 6 years older than me, is I go, like, we're watching a movie, like, it's my time, like, we're watching a movie from my childhood, and then I'll watch something from his childhood, and neither of us are happy when it's the other's turn to pick. Because I'm just like, oh man, I remember when I watched, I wanted to be blah, 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 and he's like, that's great. And I've seen that, and now it's my turn.
There's nothing more depressing, though, than going back to something that you absolutely just loved as a child and going, wow, I cannot
You thought it was
conjure up.
brilliant. And you think about how many times you made your parents sit through watching that fucking movie.
There are certain films I refuse to go back and watch because I know that I will not like them as much. And I'm like, no, I would rather remember them as I remember
I'm kind of that way with everything, though. I think experience is what should be remembered. I don't want to look at a picture of my experience. Because it completely changes the thought of what that experience was, and I want to enjoy that experience.
Well, so many pictures are posed. Like, do you remember that one time we were all, doing this and staring at a camera? No, I don't. But I do remember that I jumped off a cliff.
And that's the thing. The whole point of taking pictures is like, hey, you remember when we did this?
I remember taking the picture.
I do remember when we did that. I remember that day.
Unless it ends up being horrible and cops have to be involved, and thank God we took pictures.
But let me play devil's advocate for a moment. Because sometimes when you go and revisit something that you absolutely loved as a child or even a few years ago or whatever,
revisited.
or anything, like something that really meant a lot to you at one point in time that you just haven't touched again because, like in my case, I don't want to because I'm afraid that it's going to depreciate. And I'd rather just live in the memory of knowing how much it meant to me at the time and not have it corrupted by
Well, it's nice
the
to find
cynic
if you've forgotten
now.
somehow. Yeah,
But every now and again, and it is rare, it is very, very rare that I will watch something or read something or listen to something that I haven't touched in a long time, and the perspective I have on it now, which I couldn't have had when I first watched it, makes me appreciate it even more. It grows with me. And so I think sometimes I do want to go back. A lot of times I want to go back. Or you
find yourself picking up on stuff that you
picking
never would have.
Stuff, or going, wow, I didn't see that. Or like, wow, or finding that, there's, as wonderful as it is to sit down when you're young and see something that completely washes over you and just changes you. As wonderful as that is, even more marvelous is coming back to it and finding that it's still able to do that to you for different reasons, right? But it's so rare that most of the time you go back, okay, let's see if this yields up new insight. And you're like, oh, no, it's crap. Yeah. And so then, but you've sacrificed the memory now, the good memory. And so I think I take that risk. You roll the dice and take that risk. And sometimes it pays off, most of the time it does not.
Like it was Steven's turn and we watched, I forget what we watched. And I'm like, oh, wow, that was clearly shot like a year later. Look at the kids now. And he's just like, right? I wouldn't have noticed that if you hadn't said anything. I'm like, yeah, well, now you can't not notice it. Shit like that. And he's like, kind of ruining this movie that I love. I'm like, that's not her voice. They dubbed that over.
I do that with music all the time, and books, novels. I cannot read. A novel has to be really fucking amazing. I'm extraordinarily critical, and I wish I wasn't, because I would enjoy so much more if I weren't such a bastard. But I have to be like, that's bad writing. That's terrible. I hate that. Blah 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 blah. And I feel left out. I'm like, oh, everyone's enjoying this, and I can't, because I just don't. It's not my cup of tea. But there's so few cups made for me. But okay. Moving on to the question. Okay, this is a really long question, so I'm going to paraphrase it, Clarence. Because Clarence is awesome, but it's a very long story, and I will probably screw it up anyway.
Why'd you have to write so much, Clarence?
Because Clarence is interested enough in you and this show.
Clarence!
To give
Clarence! Where are you, Clarence?
Clarence, in case you're not aware, that's him doing a Jimmy Stewart impression. Wikipedia. Look it up, Google it. Okay, so Clarence says, let's see. Okay, so basically, Clarence was over at a cousin's house. The cousins for the family was there for like 4th of July. They had cousin had a Netflix account, and there was some anime that came up on there that looked really interesting to him, and he wanted to watch it, but he thought maybe I shouldn't, because this may not be appropriate for the entire family. And when he goes back, so he deferred gratification.
That's good thinking for other people.
Very, very good, very good. That shows foresight.
Clarence.
Where are you, Clarence? That's a terrible Jimmy Stewart. I can stop trying to do that. And basically, the end of it is basically I say, luckily, I didn't. Now that I know what it is, I'm extremely happy that I didn't, because my family is full of a bunch of old school albatrosses. I love that phrase. I am going to use that from now on. Who would have freaked if they had seen it? With all that being said, it got me thinking, has there ever been a close call that you have avoided that would have caused complete awkwardness, embarrassment, etc., like that, like with your family, like going, oh my God, Mom, we should totally go see Showgirls together, and then going, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't. And then you see it by yourself, and you're like, I am so glad I did not watch Showgirls with my mom, because that would have been a really awkward time.
I don't think you could say I'm so glad and have it have anything to do with Showgirls.
I can think of a number of sentences. I'm so glad I was not in any way associated with Showgirls. There's a sentence. But have you ever had that happen? Have you ever like had a near miss with your family of something that would have been incredibly awkward had you gone with your first instinct?
Probably.
A couple of times I'm glad nobody opened the bedroom door.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought of, yeah. Jerry, specifically, not me. No,
yeah. I've had a lot of...
I don't know, I always embrace the awkward and still just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
I embrace the awkward.
I've learned to do that the older I get.
Yeah.
Just be like, because, there's nothing unnatural about anything you could possibly do. It's only the belief that it is weird or unnatural that makes it so. And you don't have to believe it. That's the great secret of life right there. Listen up, folks. That's the secret right there. You want to know what it's all about?
Clarence?
You don't have to believe that reality is what they tell you it is.
Yep, very true. It often is.
What about you?
I'm the same way. I usually embrace the awkward, especially with my mother. My mother is very... she's a very good person. She's very polite. She's like Hyacinth Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearances. Like everything is, she's very social and she's very sweet, but everything is, oh dear, everything embarrasses her. My grandfather, who she largely takes care of now, great guy, but he loves to push her buttons because he's so sarcastic and so ironic and so funny, and she does not have a palate for those types of things. So she does not understand that he's joking, and he knows this and incorporates it into the joke. So he'll say things like, they'll be in a room and he'll be like, what are we doing here? It's not a damn church. And everyone there thinks it's funny. Mom will be like, Daddy, shh. And he loves fucking with her like that. That's just how she is, right? She just has no sense of humor. It's not that she doesn't find things funny. She just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And she tries. God love her, she tries, but she just does not get it. So... whenever my mom would do something or misuse a phrase, which was frequently, she taught high school for almost 30 years, and which is amazing to me. She didn't know more slang than she does. She would hear these terms and then try to use them later and completely misuse them, and not just in a way like, oh, that's clever. Oh, Mom, you really... when we are drying plates with our breath, we don't call that a blowjob. Please don't say that around me again. It's awkward enough having to explain this. But I've always been the one in my family that's been like, Mom, let me explain this to you. Because everyone else is afraid to. They don't want to go there. And I'm like, all right, I'm the one. I guess I'll be the expert.
No, if anything, they encouraged it in my family. It was like, hey, what are we not supposed to talk about? Alice is getting divorced. Like, let's just throw it out there. I'm like,
but see, everyone else in my family, awkwardness was always encouraged because we're all of us, like my dad doesn't give a shit, like doesn't give a fuck. There is nothing you can do around him that he would go, oh my God, I can't possibly have
your dad and my dad sound very similar,
because you're doing something that I find that I care so much about. Like that's dad. He's
my mind is blown.
When I came out to my dad was like, so? I mean, like, yeah, my dad describes how he knew it because he caught me or walked in on me making out with another guy, and he said, I just turned around and walked out the room because what could I say at that point? I'm like, why didn't you say something? Hey, I didn't want to cramp your style. My son was getting some. I didn't want to be that guy. And I'm like, that's my dad. That is my dad. My mom is very opposite of that. My mother's like, oh, well, okay. Are you that way? Like, she can't even say gay. I'm like, gay? Homosexual?
And she's like, don't say gay.
Like someone's listening, you know? Always like someone's listening. My mother responds like there's always someone listening. Like,
God is listening.
God is listening. What a terrifying thought.
I know.
I'm like, I don't think I can ever believe, because that's just, God is a perverted peeping Tom if he's always watching, always listening. But so yeah, for my mom, it was always all kinds of weird stuff. But I do remember one occasion that was, I had rented a film. I still lived with them at the time. I was like 16 or 17 years old. Single white female.
Oh my God, it's a terrifying film to watch with anyone or at anyone.
Well,
yeah.
I was watching it by myself, right? But I was in the living room watching it on our VCR. It was the only TV in the house that had VCR. And
remember VCRs, kids?
They don't.
Oh.
They were what we used before we had phones. It's confusing, I know. You'll get it one day, kids. Or you won't ever, and it won't matter. But
I had a car that would rewind the tapes.
I worked at Blockbuster Video. We had one of those.
We were always kind.
It always sounded like a jet engine taking off. But so there's a scene in Single White Female. And I was watching this by myself. It was late at night. My mom and dad were in bed.
Bedroom
right?
scene?
No, bathroom scene.
Oh,
where she basically gives, her man, her roommate's man, whom she now looks a great deal like. She looks a great deal like the roommate, and so he comes in like late at night. He's bleary-eyed and tired. He doesn't know that it's not his girlfriend, and she starts.
That's the excuse I would use too.
I'm like, dude, you got a get out of jail free card. They got the same dye job. But she starts going down on him.
All I could see was the top of her head.
She starts giving him a blowjob, and it has nothing to do with dishes.
Wait.
And
you lost me.
I'll explain when you're older.
So a blowjob.
This
is an employment opportunity of some sort.
And
for dryers.
For dryers. For people that are really good with their...
Why are we all Mike Myers doing coffee talk?
I really have no idea. But there's a scene, and suddenly my mom just comes out of her room at like 2:30 in the morning. Like, I guess she couldn't sleep. So she comes and she has to pass by the television, and I'm like fumbling for the remote control to stop this, because there's a very it didn't stop. I paused it.
When he's all, no!
I paused it when this man's back is arched and his head is back and his mouth is open and there's this little red-headed woman on his crotch, and mom just stops and goes, "What are you watching?" And what can I say? I'm like,
Single white female.
I said Nature Channel. Nature Channel. Guys getting a blowjob. And mom just goes, and walks out of the room. So if you just face the awkwardness down, they usually will back off.
Yeah.
But that's me. So no awkward story like that for you? There got to be something. I mean, I know nothing is awkward to you, but surely as a kid there had to have been someone you're like, well, you just have to look at your friends and go,
but that's the thing. That's the thing, though. I mean, when you're a kid, most people are brought up to believe that anything that you would feel embarrassed or guilty about, the reason you feel embarrassed or guilty is because you've been taught to feel embarrassed and guilty. It's not because you actually feel, and that's the thing, is it comes to you afterwards. After you feel embarrassed and guilty, you go, there's no friggin' reason I should have felt either embarrassed or guilty. But it takes you a while to get to that point. Oh, yeah. And then once you do, you can preemptively go into any situation going, nothing's going to be awkward. Nothing shall be awkward. Everything is within the realm of possibility.
It's so hard to unlearn that, to unlearn the
It's
the
very
guilt,
hard.
You know,
It's
a lot of
very
people
hard.
never do.
Well,
I still feel self-conscious about certain things.
Guilt,
and I always get mad that I feel self-conscious
guilt can
about
be
them.
a good thing. Guilt, there's obviously a reason for guilt.
Well, yeah, like if you kill somebody, you should probably feel
guilt
guilty.
should be something that comes from. Guilt should be something that comes from within, and not not from other people, because they know how to make you feel guilty.
You should feel guilty about this.
Yeah, well, that's funny because I don't.
Yeah,
you know, not at all.
But it's so hard for people to own that, to be like, you know what, I don't feel guilty. Fuck you. They convince themselves that they do really feel guilty. And
that's the.
I mean, sometimes it's like, hey, maybe you don't realize what you did. That's different. Yeah,
that's different. But there are certain things, like what Jerry's saying. There's certain things that we're made to feel guilty about that we shouldn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
You did something shitty and you know it. You know,
like
I feel a little.
That's
guilty
different than like
that.
So I'm a little kid and I'm masturbating and you know I'm enjoying it as you do.
Don't
you
do that. That's
feel
bad.
guilty for that because it's
shame.
But you don't know. You don't know you're not supposed to feel guilty. You do before you're told. You know that it doesn't matter.
The biological fact is pretty awesome at first. You're like, that's kind of speaks for itself.
And then once other things start getting thrown into it, God doesn't want us to do that.
You just can't enjoy yourself.
And then you're like, what? God doesn't want. He's really watching me.
Why?
Wow.
What? Doesn't he have anything better to do?
Right.
No, I think the only awkwardness for me would be like running into exes or anything like that, but now
I don't let that be awkward either.
I've been with Steven long enough that like I've done the run into ex with pretty much everybody. Everybody, and that's a lot of people. No, but at one point I was
7 billion times.
I was hanging out with my best friend at the time. He was also my roommate, Nathan, and we were hanging out at a coffee shop, and so it's just a cup of coffee and chain smoking for 4 hours, and then you go home. That is being a teenager in Arlington.
I like it.
But at one point, I see my ex walk in, and he is with Nathan's ex, and they're on their first date. And they sat down next to us.
Sweet.
And that was awkward. And then just finally, Nathan just goes, so, I really don't want to be here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. And they're like, cool. I'm like, we're going to leave because this is awkward. Bye. That, I'm like, yes, instead of just going, no, let's just keep sitting here.
Guilt is weird.
We're kind of like connected now. That's horrible.
I've changed my answer. The all too common anime convention question: what's your guilty pleasure? My permanent answer from now on is why would I feel guilty about feeling pleasure? That's
because
ridiculous.
It's wrong.
It's not wrong. How could it be wrong?
I love it. Why would it? Okay, now sit down. Next question.
Pleasure's a good thing.
Pleasure's a good thing.
That's why it's called pleasure.
I know, right?
Why would I feel guilty about that?
Too many people out there they're terrified that someone's having a good time and they have to put a stop to it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's usually people that don't know how to have a good time themselves. And so nothing is more threatening or off-putting than seeing other people that know how to enjoy themselves. And so they've got to concoct this whole thing of why it's bad. I'm going to poison it with guilt now because, by God, I feel guilty whenever I jack off. You're going to as well.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I don't. I feel great. It's really wonderful.
Like, okay, so you guys at one point were told that masturbation was like you should feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Okay, like women never got any talking to, at least that I'm aware of, about anything related to that. It's just kind of like, hey, what's going on? No.
I had an older brother that tried to convince me, because he was a douchey older brother that's like everything was gay. Everything was gay because he was such a jock. And he was like, I don't masturbate. I don't even touch it to take a piss. Like apparently it was Yeah, it was kind of thing, and I'm like, really? But that's bullshit. I fucking caught him masturbating once, and he was trying to convince me that no, I was itching it. And I'm like, shut up.
At a medium pace.
Yeah, at a medium pace. It was flaring up, so I had to. But yeah, it was. I'm like, but it's when I'm like, so you're gonna tell me, I never do it. It's only weirdos do that, and I'm like, well, you're doing it now. But yeah, it was weird. Yeah, little
That's
boys,
sweet.
and maybe not all little boys, but certainly all of my friends, all of us grew up like being made to feel that you just shouldn't do it, that it was bad.
Well, I mean, and parents have to do it along the way just to make you fit into society. When
to
you're
make sure that you don't like whip it out.
Yeah, when you're a baby,
at church or something,
throwing off clothes when you're a baby's nothing. It's cute when you're a baby. You know, but you
Yeah,
get a
that
little
was
older and it becomes a problem. Yeah.
you know, your
Yeah, that was a
parents
weird first
your
recording
parents are
session with Jerry.
constantly putting clothes on you. They're constantly pulling your shirt down. They're constantly, you just don't
Fussing
show,
over your
you
hair.
don't show this. Don't show this. This
Yeah.
is,
Show this.
this is
These are your naughty bits.
yeah.
And they're naughty. I'm like, why are they naughty?
Why are they naughty?
I mean, maybe your parents are just trying to protect you from child predators, but
Which is
in
a
which
good
case that's
thing.
good. But you know, but then sometimes you grow up thinking, my God, everyone must be a child predator because they're trying to make sure
They are. They're all
nobody
drinking
sees it.
sweet tea and cookies. All right, lightning round stuff. Yeah.
Oh, lightning round? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. We don't have that many. And we've also been chatting quite a bit. Okay.
we like to chat.
Randomly from Alex.
Alex.
What is the strangest name you've ever given a pet?
I don't know that I've ever had a pet. Wait, I haven't had a pet that I personally claimed, but there have been pets in my household at one point. And I think I named most of them. But none of them were weird. We had a Stanley.
I like to give pets normal names.
We had a Norman.
Paul.
Well, like my
Norman.
last dog was Fred.
We had a Risa. And full name was Risa Duncan Hoffman.
That's a powerhouse name for.
I come up with powerhouse names. That's what that's why I named the pets.
That's a good character from an Ayn Rand novel.
Because they were. That's what I do.
I had, I think the coolest pet I ever had, the coolest name, it was a weird name, but it was the octopus I had for a little while. It was
Yes.
named Cthulhu, but short, it was Chewy, which I thought was really clever. But I think my cat now, Angus, that's a weird fucking name. I didn't name him,
Adorable.
but his name is Mr. Angus, and we just call him Angus or Angie. And that's kind of, when I hear myself saying it, I'm like, that's a weird name.
Yes.
Angus. And you have to say it just like that. So yeah.
My brother was a big fan of bringing, like, probably neighbors' pets home. Like, they're in the yard. He's like, I'm going to pick you up, and now you are my cat. And we're going to go to my house and pretend like I didn't find you in the yard. He's like, yeah, if this cat followed me home. And
Cats don't follow people.
that happened all the time.
Follow me home.
I had my
Actually, they're
cat.
waiting for me when I get there.
I had a cat that I had like follow me to school, and I had to call my mom. She had to come from work to pick up the cat. But I used to be really into Xena, and so I named a cat Xena, and yeah. But then the cat was given back to the neighbors, and Xena went back to being like Angel.
Angel.
I'm like, Xena, come on, Xena.
All right, this question comes from Andrea. Is there a movie everyone seems to love but you just can't stand? There's a lot of those.
Well,
Yeah,
There's
there
a
are
lot
a
of
lot of
those.
those. Anything with Tom Cruise in it.
Thank you. Fuck.
yes.
Oh, or Nicolas Cage. So
Well, those aren't even movies, are
don't
they?
think-
Like, I don't even classify those as movies. Those are something else. Those are
Like one that's out, that's been out, like, I don't know.
nothing against them personally, by the way. Not that they're listening to this at all.
I'm telling you,
No, I don't know them
everybody that
personally,
we're
so I
talking
don't know.
about.
I just hate your shitty
I get
movies.
so many concerned emails. We're like, hey, Tom, just listen to the show.
really offended. We thought we were friends.
No, one of them, it's not recent, but one of them that I never understood, like, why it was a huge deal, was Jerry Maguire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one. I don't like most movies.
I don't
find
like
most movies
they're
to be
like,
really
it's
trite
huge.
and
Like, if
stupid
it's
and-
Oscar worthy, blah, 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 it takes a lot for, but again, like, it's that same thing, like, oh, you have to see this. I don't have to see anything.
Again, it's one of those things that comes with age, but the older I get, the more I realize, again, listening to myself and not accepting what other people are telling me is good, because I'm generally going to disagree. I've learned to just judge everything that way. If the
It saves you a lot of time.
If the masses are doing something, I know that there is something wrong with it.
Precisely, because
And
it is
so
clearly
I leave it
designed.
alone.
Because it is clearly designed to appeal to a large number of people, meaning that it is designed around the lowest common denominator. And I am not the lowest common denominator, nor will I ever be. So the movie, and it's not that I'm like, that's a terrible movie. I'm just like, I am not the audience for that. I am not the audience for that.
Yes.
And sadly, most films I am not the audience for, because I think films in and of themselves, by and large, seem to be, and they want to make money, and I can't fault them for that.
Right,
They spend a lot of money, they want to make money, that's business, that's true, but because of that, they're going to put out stuff that I don't particularly like, because they're going to appeal to people's tastes who are far, just to sound arrogant, they're far less sophisticated than my own. And that's because I've seen a lot, I've read a lot, and so far it takes a lot more to keep my interest, because I've seen this story 100 times, I've seen this twist 1,000 times. So it's like I don't enjoy movies. Movies, by and large, are geared towards young people. And young people, being young, don't have enough experience under their belt to really... for them, this is completely new. But for me, this would be like the 1,000th time I've seen something like this, so I'm not going to waste my time. And everyone thinks I'm a
Well,
bad.
it's the same, same thing like with remakes. Or like, well, like that one's new, so that's why I want to see it. I'm like, well, you could see the original.
Yeah.
But it's the same
It's just the thing. I find myself generally not liking movies. I think I probably see about 2 or 3 a year.
I see a lot.
That's it, because I just don't. And I haven't been to a movie theater but like once in the past 2 or 3 years.
I've seen 2 movies with you, in the theaters.
Yeah.
And that was Watchmen,
and
which
Star
was
Trek. Fucking terrible. And Star Trek, which I thought was fun, but
we should have really known. It was just me, you, Stephen, Joshua, Bevins, and Clary, and like we should have known. Like, this is a huge theater. Why are we the only people in here?
Yeah.
And why didn't we all get our own row? That was silly.
No doubt.
But I don't know. I generally hate all sorts of things that other people like.
Yeah.
I just don't like...
Every time, it doesn't matter what it is. Whenever something, especially when something starts getting repeated over and over in the media, I know that is something I want no part of, and I want to stay away from completely.
Yeah, and I always feel like, God, for everything like that, there's so many other examples.
So many
that will
good
never
things
get any
going
attention.
on.
So I feel like, you know what? That one's taken care of. Everyone and their goddamn grandfather is going to see that movie. I'm going to go rent this movie over here that no one's paying attention to because it's odd or it's off the wall or something. But I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's strange. I don't know. I get a lot of flack for hating the Harry Potter series and the books. The movies I actually think are decent. I mean, if they're better than the books, but I fucking hate the books. I think the books are shit. And I get into a lot of fights with people. I'm just saying, for someone like me, those books do nothing.
They weren't written for you.
They weren't
It was not written for you.
So why am I going to? Why am I going to slog through them?
Those books inspired an entire generation of kids to actually start reading.
Yeah,
They did some good, but they weren't written for you.
They were not.
They were written for those kids.
They were not. They were written for those kids. Yes.
Yeah,
They did not inspire them to start reading though. They inspired them to start reading shit like Twilight. The writing just gets worse from that point out.
Oh god.
Sorry,
Twilight's age-based, though. It's completely age-based. If you're
no, it's not. I see a frightening number of adults reading that shit, and that's what bothers me. Like. Children's literature has never been more popular than it's been in the past 10 years.
The masses
and the reason is because so many more adults are reading children's literature than children are reading. Which I'm like, I find that exasperating. I'm like, it's like the friend that didn't have sex until they were 34, and you're like, oh my god, I'm reading this amazing book. I'm like, I might have been enthralled by that for a second when I was 9.
Right.
You're 36 and you're loving it. It's kind of awkward. It's like, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. But
what inspired you to read it? Well, everybody else was reading
exactly.
it.
Everyone else. Oprah.
That would never.
It was on Oprah's bestseller.
Yeah.
It was on Oprah's books.
That would never. No, again, but if you tell me that I should read something, watch something, or you should really see this exhibit. Well, actually, with those, I will because I love it. But
I will demand that someone describe to me why.
Yes,
I'm like, you'll just love it. I can't describe why. I'm like, well, clearly this couldn't have been that good of a book because it didn't inspire you to be able to describe the experience.
It's just it's great.
It's just great. You'll love it. No, I won't. But if someone could actually sit down and go, well, I think this and this and that, I'll be like, okay, I'm sold. I'm intrigued.
There's this one piece. It's just
clearly, if I can judge by their reaction that their relationship to the material they've just encountered was a complicated one, I might be inspired.
Oh my god, Tatum, you should see this movie. It's really funny.
And sadly the sorts of recommendations we usually get. Like,
if you like Doctor Who, you'll really like this fan fiction of Barsky.
If you like Doctor Who, you will totally love Back to the Future. It's also about... It's like someone going, you will love Lawrence of Arabia. Like, if you love Lawrence of Arabia, you will totally love Forrest Gump. They're both about people.
Holy shit.
I love things about people. I think you're onto something. Yeah,
I'm a people.
I'm a people. No adjectives around that.
That's right. Then
Full
we're all
circle.
Then there's equality. You see,
There's quality because it's about a people.
Equality.
Oh, equality. No quality and equality. Is that what you're saying? What are they? Are they mutually exclusive terms?
If you lose the adjectives, then there becomes equality.
Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to stop using stupid adjectives. I'm going to stop using adjectives altogether. Fuck.
And at that moment, Tatum just died. That's your death.
He died.
He died
death.
of a yawn.
He died a dead. Yeah, that's the kind of statements you're forced to make.
I know,
unless you just want it to be.
But that's the reality of it.
Yeah, your tombstone. We should make it very, very.
Have no relationship whatsoever, nor should they.
Yes,
that's why I love words, because if anything, they liberate us from reality. Why should I be fenced in? I like using words so I can.
Are they liberating words or are they just words?
Well, they're just words, but just being words, they can be very liberating as words.
They can be liberating.
I think Oscar Wilde's...
very liberating, a little liberating. Either way, they're liberating.
I think Oscar Wilde's sublime observation, quote, all art is perfectly useless, should be emblazoned in iron above every fucking university gate in the world. All art is useless. That's why it's awesome.
It's just art.
It's just art.
It's not useless art. It's just art.
It's just art. Well, art is useless. It is useless.
No, you don't need the
useless. Well, sometimes you need to add that word for a little while so people understand that art is not something else.
No, you need to add it for a while.
You and I are going to have a very, very long talk about language. Terry's now dying a death. She's dying a Terry death. Now, at that point, does Terry become an adjective?
A Terry death. Something awkward.
Awkward.
No, it just
Oh my god, that's what my tombstone should be. Awkward. ...
Mine was just going to say fiend.
Oh, no.
You did.
No. Here's what you do.
Dick.
Here's what you do with the awkward. You get a big slab, okay, that says awkward.
Yeah.
Bury it in the ground, and then have yourself buried just from the waist down. So you're sticking up where the gravestone should be, and the stone on the ground says awkward. That would be funny.
I want a tombstone that says, "What are you looking at?" Like, I want people to feel confronted when they look at my tombstone. And I want the dates to be fucked up. I want the date I died to be like 10 years
funny.
after or 10 years before the date I was born. Because I want people to go, wait a minute.
They won't. Most people
they won't.
Notice.
They won't. But like maybe
you
one
should
person
put
out
like
of 100.
stipulations. Like if you get like murdered or something, yes, something serious. But if it's like natural causes, be like, yeah, I want to have, see you soon on my tombstone.
I think that's another weird play on language. Natural death versus murder. Not that murder is natural, perhaps, but it
Murder
happens.
or an accident.
But when you're murdered, nothing is happening to your body in the death process. Like if you could die of I don't know. Like if you can die of stupid, like that would be unnatural. But you really can't. Well, stupid can lead to death.
Or you
don't die of stupid the way you
be
say
so scared, be so scared you died of fright. Like,
yeah.
Random.
That's unnatural.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone dies of fright. They'd have a heart attack.
I bet you they do. Well, yeah.
They'd have a heart attack. They die.
Remember all deaths are caused by lack of oxygen to the brain.
Yeah, it's true. We all die from basically, the equivalent of asphyxiation.
Terry death.
Do we have time for one more question?
You want one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
One more?
One more. And we'll wrap it up.
One more question.
I don't want it to end because I love Jerry.
All right. Speaking of death,
everything ends.
They're in the beginning, just words.
This is from Eric.
Alec?
Eric. If you were to be a serial killer,
I am to be. How did you know?
how would you kill people and who would you start with?
Well, I think we clearly have to start with Eric since he's on to us.
I was not meant to be a serial killer. I don't. No, I wouldn't. I would never want to be. I've read enough about serial killers to know that I'm not one.
Yeah.
Do you have to do a lot of reading to make sure?
I had to do a little bit of reading to make sure.
I just need to.
Because truth be told, I don't think there's anything abnormal about someone thinking, "Oh, I'd like to kill that motherfucker."
No.
I think everybody, you're not a person if you don't think that at some point, or it doesn't mean all the time, and it doesn't mean you act on it, of course.
Of course not.
But that's why I'm not a serial killer. Those guys, they don't have those boundaries. You know,
and often they kill somebody not because they hate them, just because they get off on killing, which is different.
It's almost always control. It's almost always the power, the it's not even real power, but
no, it's the illusion of having power over someone else, over life and death.
To me, it's like, why don't you just run for Congress or something? You know, same thing.
That takes work and ambition. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, serial killers are so... I always feel like serial killers are just artists that just didn't have the ambition to do anything with their lives. Because, I mean, it's kind of easy to kill people. I mean, I say that, like, I know, like, the reality of it's probably very different. Like, killing someone is pretty tough. But I think if you...
It's physically, it's very easy.
But
it happens on accident a lot.
It does. And it happens to all of us eventually. So,
it's
like,
true.
you could be a serial killer by just waiting around.
God's a serial killer.
Reality is a mass murderer.
That's right.
But no, killing someone. I always feel like, I don't know. Perhaps serial killers are just people that who feel like this is the only way they can express themselves, and it seems it's no different than me. I mean, I have no respect for them. Because the reality, I mean, if you, like the serial killers we see on television are, you know, geniuses, like Hannibal Lecters and Dexter. Those aren't real.
Those are fictional. Like,
real serial killers are fucking dribbling idiots with, like, you know.
I don't know. Some of those guys were pretty smart.
A couple of them.
Ted Bundy.
Bundy was my
Okay, Ted Bundy was pretty smart. There's a few other examples. There are examples, but they're smart and stupid and everything. But like with the law of averages, again, doesn't matter. Doctors, we think of doctors as being very smart. Doesn't matter. There's still a lot of stupid ones out there compared to the really, really good ones, right?
That's true.
So most serial killers are going to be, I think, a letdown in person compared to the fantasy most of us have, media-fed fantasy of what a serial killer is.
Yeah, as it's true. Like, this is what I expected.
Well, and that's why you always get he was a quiet guy.
He was a quiet guy that you never noticed before because he kept to himself. But it's like, you know, for every Ted Bundy, for every Hannibal Lecter or whatever, there's 1,000 serial killers who are just dribbling, wall-eyed. Who are like, I just do it because I don't want to kill somebody. You know, I mean, they're just... And
we're looking for this woman. Oh, she's at my place.
Yeah. And there's
hanging upside down from the rafters in the garage.
See, there's nothing romantic about it.
Terrifying.
Nothing romantic.
That was terrifying because he was looking at me as he was saying it. I'm like,
you can see, like, he was jutting his teeth
Acting.
out. But no, if I was a serial killer, I would want to do something that made it an art form, that made it difficult. Because anything I do, I want it to be difficult, because otherwise there's no pleasure in doing it. And I mean difficult in the sense that having done it, I feel accomplished, because this is something
do it well.
Not
no one
everybody
else
can do.
has ever done it.
Exactly. And I have no idea how I would do that, honestly, because I haven't thought about it. I mean, I've wanted to kill people, sure. We've all wanted. I mean, I'm honestly sometimes very surprised that I have made it this far in life without destroying someone. Really, because I hate a lot of people. Most people, in fact, I don't care for. But the truth is, I don't know. That's precisely why I couldn't be a serial killer, because I don't hate anyone so much that I'm willing to put that much time and effort into ending them. I'm like, why would I waste my time when... It means much more to me just to see you be miserable.
I can go away, and chances are I'll never see you again in my life.
Exactly.
Right.
But if I was a serial killer,
and that's the same as killing them, really.
If I was a serial killer,
in my mind, you are dead.
Really fantastic, and it's impossible. But I would work them in such a way. I would work the kill in such a way that the person completely ceased to exist. everyone that knew them in life had no memory of them, any records of them ceased to exist.
Men in Black them?
I would do something like I would like, it would be some weird supernatural power where I would just erase them from the timeline altogether, which of course is impossible. So I'm never going to really try to do it. So yeah, that would be what I would do. Maybe there's a bunch of serial killers out there with that power and we just don't know that they're operating. Maybe I'm one and I don't know it. I'm so good at it.
I doubt it. Well, again, not really thought about it.
Yeah, you have.
No.
Kidding.
No,
Not
because
in
again,
detail.
like, I'm putting all this effort into somebody that I don't like. Like, fuck you.
And I'm talking about having to do something physical,
Yeah.
which they're probably going to struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Chances are.
They never just give themselves
Oh,
up
you know
willingly.
what, though? Actually, perfect way to do it. Bunch of kids and just summon a burning hospital. That's the way to do
Have the
it.
burning hospital eat the kids.
They'll
so
never
somebody
suspect
will have
that
to save
I'm
them.
behind the burning
Somebody
hospital.
will have to save those children, and I know just the man for the job.
That's
Well,
how
one
I
of
do
those
it.
kids maybe Hitler and go on to be a
That's
serial killer
true.
themselves, and it's just this fucking cycle. It just keeps on happening. There's no escape from it.
So yeah, I would summon my burning hospital.
I still am really caught on how the idea of a burning hospital is such a unique one to you that you're like, oh my god, how is that a thing? It's not like I said.
No, it's just the way you worded it. And when you listen to the show, you'll figure it out.
Go back, but it's like now I feel like I asked for strangled eggs or something instead of scrambled eggs. That's probably what happened.
Sarah, did I strangle? I mean, I didn't murder anyone by strangling them a second
Can I
ago.
have some scrambled eggs? I'm sorry. Scrambled brains? I'm sorry. Dead baby?
Dead.
Eggs
Yeah.
Burning hospital.
Well, technically, eggs are dead babies.
No, it's just a chicken's period. Because they're not fertilized.
Yeah, they're single.
But
They're single cell.
Look, if
I prefer really not to. Thank you.
if we're protecting human life,
Oh no!
I'm not protecting human life. I don't give a shit about human life.
I give a shit about human life, but
I give a shit about my own and those
But
I care
I think
about.
I think population control is a good thing as well. You know?
You want to eat people eggs?
Oh no!
I was going to say, that's gross.
No.
Jan and I are like,
People eggs is nasty.
People don't lay eggs. Thank God. That would be really weird.
yeah, it would be weird.
How did this happen?
And on that note, we should probably wrap this up.
Wrapping it up.
Like eggs
Bye,
in a
everyone.
basket.
And remember to wrap it up.
Wrap that rascal.
Unless you're just trying to protect yourself in a car accident. Because
Yes.
those won't do.
They really trust me.
They won't.
Jerry, it was great to have you on. You're
Yes,
awesome.
you
I
were
love you.
fabulous.
Fun to talk.
I love you.
Yes.
We love to hear you talk. It's amazing.
No, no.
I like to hear you talk.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. I'm in awe of you, sir.
Of my talking.
Of you.
Lots of
talking
people
included.
talk.
All right.
Everybody can talk.
And now we won't lie.
Everybody can shut up. Everybody can end the show. Everybody can wrap it up. That's the phrase. Wrap it up.
All right, we're
the
going to
magic
wrap it up.
word.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.